Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariffed nations. My name is Brian Engelman. This is Monday, March 31st, 2025, and this is the TNAM AM Show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. Thanks for joining us today. We are live streaming on Facebook through our Facebook page. What else are we streaming on? We should be streaming on Rumble. Let's make sure that it is. That should be happening. Yes, looks like it's happening. Good. Now, also today, we should be up and live on D-Live. It says I'm streaming, but I don't see it happening. Yeah, it says it's live. Oh, no, it doesn't say it's live. Huh. Let me try one more thing here. Authenticating, verifying, signing in. Yes. Channel already added. Go back. Okay. D-Live is already here, but it's not streaming. Let me log out and log back in. Yeah, we were suspended by YouTube without a reason last week. So we have now added Kick. We've added Twitch. We have done new things. Still trying to make sure. Still trying to connect D-Live. Good luck with it. We've had a lot of problems with it. But we're here today, and we're going to talk about the Tesla Astroturf situation. We are going to talk about... what's going on here? Quick, Instagram wanted to log me out. Not what I was hoping for. Okay. We're going to talk about the Tesla Astroturf. We're going to talk about Marine Le Pen, Bolsonaro, Georgescu. The lawfare that they tried with Trump is happening across the globe. They are big mad. They are freaking out. They've lost their grip on power. And here's the trick, guys. We wouldn't have even cared if you had power, if you maintained your 0.1%, if your elites, your new world order, if you guys were able, and girls, plenty of girls are in this exclusive club of puppet masters, we wouldn't have even cared, except you are harming us so greatly every single day with our freedoms, our liberties, our happiness, our future. We cannot sit by and just let this happen. There's no universe on Earth where we're just going to be okay with what you're doing. It's just not a thing. There we go. It's not a thing. We're not happy with this. You could take some, but you got to make sure that the people are doing okay. Because when the people aren't doing okay, that's when you get your riots. You want your bread and circuses to win the day? Well, make sure that people can afford stuff. Make sure that common sense is prevailing. Except that's not what's happening. It seems like a mad dash. What did that administration official say on a James O'Keefe undercover investigation? It's like we're throwing gold bars off of the Titanic while we still can, because they know their money laundering days are over. We're going to talk about Elon Musk and the number of Social Security fraud. We're going to talk about the number of Social Security accounts that are not valid. We'll break it down. There's a couple of different perspectives to consider here, but they are big mad. Because they don't like us. They don't like you. They're not fans. They want as much for themselves and they don't give a damn what they have to smash in the process of accumulating this wealth. So that's what we're going to talk about on the TNAM AM show today. If you have comments, please click them on the sidebar. Here's our first question of the day. Type in your name or your initials and tell me where you are watching us from. We have regular viewers all across America and in other nations as well. So leave a comment. We definitely appreciate getting to see what it is that you're up to, because it's interactive. The things you say, we will incorporate. Yeah, it still says streamer is offline, even though I've connected to DLive. All right, well, I'm not going to delay the news any further. Let's go ahead and jump into our Instagram feed. Michael Schellenberger reporting. He says, and when the left can't incarcerate a presidential candidate, it simply prevents them from running for no good reason and in flagrant violation of the law, as the totalitarian creeps just did in Romania. Romania bans, I'm never going to say far right, never. I'm never going to intentionally say it. I'm going to always censor it when I notice it. If you ever accidentally catch me saying far right, it's a mistake. That is such a slur, because that implies that anything right of crazy is far right. No, that's the Overton window. Imagine a football field. Man, where am I watching me? Go side by side. Imagine a football field. It's about yay big. There we go. Trying to hold on. I'm almost getting this. Still fine tuning. And there we go. Imagine a football field. There's 10 yards from there to there. In the Overton window, take it at the 50-yard line. That's your 10 yards. You can go left. You can go right. Far left. Far right. Well, they've taken common sense and spun it so far left that anything right of Crazy Town, that's far right. Oh, they're so far right. They're far right. No. See, going from here to common sense, that's still left of far right. That's still left of center, is what I'm saying. This is, it's hard to do with because it's a mirrored image. So what I'm doing is not quite accurate. I'm hoping you understand the point of what I'm getting at here. So I'm not going to say far right, but Romania has banned the front runner from the presidential election on the right, Kalin Georgescu. And this is not okay, people. This is not okay. Let's jump into the news. Charlie Kirk says most of these federal jobs should have never existed in the first place. This is why federal workers are freaking out trying to describe what they do all day. They do nothing. Hence, why they should be terminated. Well, when you put it that way. Now, we talked about far right. Let's talk about far left. I think you could say the left-wing party that has 27% approval ratings, 27% favorability. I find that number to be way too high, by the way. 27% approval rating. They are far left because they've dragged the party over to the edge of the cliff. They are teetering on the edge of the cliff right now. Here's Joe Rogan talking about it.
Seems like there's like two factions in what I would call like the American left right now. There's the reasonable people that are like, hey, we got to just stop being fucking crazy. Like there's the Bill Maher's and a lot of other folks like that. They're like, we got to stop being crazy and just appeal to like rational people. Don't go all the way over there. Stick where most people are. And then there's people that, well, we got to go further left. Then there's people like, we got to take over Tesla dealerships. We got to light cars on fire. The left is like justifying spraying Nazi swastikas on cars. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
They've gone so far over this. So there's one side that's just like radicalized in the worst way possible. That's a huge detriment to the Democratic Party because it makes everyone look like a psycho. If you have a psycho in your groups, like if you have like a white nationalist, Christian fundamentalist burning down black churches and he says, I'm a part of the right, and as a right-wing conservative American, like, whoa, that guy poisoned the right. These people are poisoning the left.
Totally.
All the people that don't want trans kids competing with their kids in school, and they don't want gender ideology being taught in class, all those people who are just rational, normal liberals that have voted Democrat their whole life. They're like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Why are you letting guys into the women's room? This is crazy. A guy with a beard and a dress is in the women's room. This is bananas. Like, what are you doing in the name of compassion? Like, this is fucking insane. That they have to figure that puzzle out, because right now they lost to Trump, and they're in this scattered thing where they're trying to shit on everything he does, hide all the good stuff. It seems like there's like two factions in what I would call the American left right now. There's the reason
they're hiding all the good stuff. Elon went up and rescued astronauts that would have been, nobody else can go get them. They've been stranded there for 8 months. Biden let them rot up there. Elon went up and got them. It was super awesome. It pumped me up. Almost no coverage of this. Almost no coverage. This should have been 24/7. The ticker at the bottom. We're all watching. What's going to happen? Are they going to make it? You just hide all the good stuff and you attack Elon because he's exposing how this nation has been overthrown. He's letting you see behind the curtain of why everything important has been turned backward by these deep state Democrats. You do not hate the lying legacy media enough. You just don't. The Democrats are carving swastikas and firebombing things. Man, doesn't it remind you of the Ku Klux Klan party? The party who started the KKK? Which political party started the KKK? We're going to ask Grok. Confederate veterans. Nathaniel Bedford Forrest. At the time of the founding, the Democrat Party was the dominant political party in the South. Many of the early members were Southern Democrats who opposed Republican-led Reconstruction efforts. There you go. So it looks like our test from D Live is working. Can anyone else see today's stream on D Live? We're on Kick. We're on Twitch. We're in all of the places that we can except for TikTok. I know, probably the one spot that'll get us revenue and get us growing, right? I just don't want to have that app on my device. I don't want it on my computer. So how do I get an account? How do I stream? Is there another way? I don't know. All right. Thank you, Joe Rogan. Continuing on here through our Instagram feed at the New American Media. We put down at the bottom, and I was tempted to go out and do some man on the street stuff yesterday and talk to these people. I didn't have it in me. I actually helped a neighbor with a pretty big infrastructure project. He's got like a runoff creek in the back of his yard, kind of connecting behind our properties. There's a ditch and a ravine and like a concrete path that takes the water up and out when it rains really good. And it's been clogged. A big tree fell, and so we've been chipping away at it. And yesterday we made progress. We almost gave up and said, oh, well, we made a little bit of a dent. I went, hold on a second. I think we're really close to punching through here. And I was able to knock some stuff around and move some stuff out. And then the water started flowing. It was all this stagnant water. And that's what gets mosquitoes. We don't want mosquitoes. We don't want standing water. We want to get that stuff where it's going, get it out of here. I decided to do some of that instead of go talk to these Tesla derps yesterday, these rent-a-mobs these Astroturf protests. These Democrats think you want to be in nonstop goofball mode. We don't. We just want to start fixing things in the country, and we're eliminating all the wasteful spending. So just sit down and shut up. You lost the election. This is what they did instantly when Trump won. They started accusing him of Russia, and all this other crap. No, we got to move forward fast. We got to hammer hard right now. Zero let up. Cannot let up, cannot slow down, cannot give an inch, cannot let these people get away with anything. So here's a fun conversation. This is an immigrant couple who's critiquing protesters' hypocrisy and hyperbole at the Tesla Global Day of Action. And it sparks a heated confrontation.
Stupid can they be? At least 50% of them are using Airbnb. Isn't Airbnb part of Dodge too? He's one of the people. How many of them are going to stay next weekend at Airbnb? This is the most stupid group of people I ever seen. What Elon Musk is doing for this country is saving it so people can have Social Security 10 years from now.
I believe you said they're going to have more.
What?
More Social Security. You just announced that.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, where are you from?
I'm originally from Israel, and my husband is from England.
Yeah, I'm from England,
We immigrated to this wonderful country 40 years ago, and we are proud American, and Elon is a proud American. He's saving this country, and these people are stupid. You know, each one of them, about a year ago, was driving their Tesla, their environmentally correct Tesla, you know.
Suddenly it's not environmentally correct.
Suddenly it's not environmentally correct to drive a Tesla. How stupid can you be?
Also, I'd like to add to this, the people who call Musk a Nazi have no idea what a Nazi is. A Nazi is somebody who tries to kill Jews.
I know who Nazis are. I'm Jewish. I know, but
I wasn't talking to you. Can I speak?
I know what Nazis are. Half these people are Jewish. I know. My family died in the Holocaust. So don't tell me I don't know what Nazis are. Who knows what a Nazi is?
See, this is exactly what they try to do. They try to shut you down while you're making a few points.
Yeah.
But let me carry on. So first of all, Musk is a visionary. America is lucky to have such a talented guy as Musk.
Yeah.
Also, the idea that he's cutting back down on government inefficiency and fraud. Clearly, there's a huge amount of... See, this is what they're like. Yeah,
They're shouting a disrupt song.
Yeah, they can't handle the fact that somebody's getting some facts out here.
So, sir, I'm going to give you a...
By the way, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to these guys. Musk is... People should be very glad to have Musk here. He's a great guy. And these guys are pretty much crazies. I would say they're very, very crazy.
And you're an immigrant. They're shouting at an immigrant right now.
Yeah, I am an immigrant. I'm proud of America. And I'm proud of Elon Musk. He's a great guy. And the fact that he's doing this for no money at all, Musk is a hero for America. And if you listen to how these people behave, and their wild accusations about everybody being a Nazi, you realize just how pathetic they are. That's all I have to say.
They're forming an angry mob around this immigrant right now.
And
I have
they
no
came
idea.
yesterday. No,
Listen
that's
to
a
me.
fact.
I know for a fact
Dude,
that there's massive waste in the U.S.
So you
government.
think that curing cancer...
There's so much waste. There's so much money laundering, and everybody's pals are getting rich. Everybody's friends and family are on the NGO boards. They're all just in a big oily circle jerk with Diddy, with Epstein, with the puppet masters. They're just having a fun little orgy with your money, our money. Just, I could go very graphic. Just, I don't want to because it's gross. I've said it on previous shows. But when you start talking about a big, slippery, oily orgy, insert funny comment here. Or insert something else here. See, there's no way to discuss this without going down the rabbit hole of silliness and grossness. But that does sum up what we're dealing with. There's so much waste, fraud, and abuse, like this guy just said.
Cancer is a waste?
That's a nonsensical thing. You're just trying to throw it.
That's a fact.
There are millions of people who, for the government, I can guarantee you there'll be no delay in the cure for cancer. And by the way, what's this guy been doing for the last 20 years?
How stupid can
It's lunatic fringe stuff. Here's a post. Why are all these people protesting in favor of wasteful spending programs? Yeah. Who protests in favor of wasteful spending programs? Number one, this probably isn't a very accurate picture. It's probably CGI, typed on there. But yeah, it's the people who are getting paid from it. That's who. That's who's getting their information. That's who's out there rallying against balancing your checkbook because you're spending way more than you're taking in. And whenever that's the case, you got to reevaluate what you're doing with your time and with your life. These people are raging against the machine as the machine. How quaint. All right. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene says, here are just a few of my planned Doge Committee hearings for this year. Empty federal buildings and waste. Yeah. NGOs and what they actually do. Taxpayer-funded abortion mills and the industry that profits off dead babies. Ugh. Guys, are you aware of what's going on with your aborted child? What the vultures that are circling for your family body parts? Ask for your remains back and see what happens. Ask for the remains back and see what happens. Oh, it's free. Oh, it's federally funded. Oh, it's so cheap. You know what happens to these parts? Who gets them and what they do with them? I mean, if you want to be in a puppy mill, if you want to be in a cattle factory. Anyway, MTG says Doge Committee does not miss. Yeah, they've been good. Hey, look, a couple of people are actually seeing our posts today. Isn't that weird? Usually they hide it from almost everybody. Meta doesn't like us. Meta doesn't let us have our 1,000 people see the stuff that we put out there. Shocking. All right, DC Drano says, attention, Florida, Wisconsin. And this is coming up, what, tomorrow? I guess this is a super big deal. I don't know why every place shouldn't just be a massive MAGA landslide. Well, minus fake social security numbers and ballots. Totally valid ballots. Attention, Florida, Wisconsin. You have elections right now that will control the House in 2026. Wisconsin, go vote for Brad Schimmel, or your Supreme Court will redistrict the GOP out of at least 2 House seats. Florida CD1, go vote for Jimmy Patronis for Congress to fill Matt Gaetz' seat. Florida CD6, go vote for Randy Fine for Congress to fill Mike Waltz's seat. No excuses. Give Trump the votes he needs to pass the MAGA agenda in Congress. Get the word out. Miss Muckraker usually does a nice thread here. Let's go through what they have. President Trump has ordered that several historical monuments and statues across the country be restored after many were removed during the Biden administration. 12 states have bills to make ivermectin available without a prescription, aside from Arkansas and Tennessee, which have already made it available. Texas, West Virginia, Alabama, Maine, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Missouri, Louisiana, Idaho. This should be on every state should be on this list. Kentucky has banned non-U.S. citizens from funding any statewide ballot initiatives. Oh. Okay. Tell me the downside to that. I don't need any foreigners coming in here telling me what I need to be doing with my state. Right? Why should we care about the opinions of others? In a homeowners association, the owners of each unit, they get together and they vote at they vote on their yearly ballots, the board of directors. Other people don't get to come in and vote. Why should someone else get to propose things? Oh, by the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching today. Thank you so much. I got some comments coming in. We'll maybe pop this up here on the screen. Jeremiah is here. What's up, buddy? Remind me again, are you from Quebec? Is that where you're checking in from? Quebec? I think it's Canada. Yes, I was going to say, please hit like, please hit subscribe. These are the places at the bottom of the screen where you can follow the New American Media: Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube. Search the New American Media and link up with us. You can't just rely on being with us on YouTube. Like Jeremiah, you're linked up with us YouTube, but they just gave us a strike, our first strike in 14 years. 1,800 videos, we got our first strike. So I encourage our YouTube viewers to go to Rumble. Our page is monetized on Rumble, so if you let the advertisement play at the beginning of the video or during it, it's like tossing a penny into the wishing well. And after a month, they add up. Not too much, but they do start adding up, and there's super chat functions there. Also, you can follow us on patreon.com/the New American Media. You can sign up to be a sponsor. $5 a month, $15 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever you want to participate in. And there's a free tier as well. But we just want to make sure our delivery mechanisms are available to you outside of YouTube, outside of Facebook, Instagram, Meta, who has deleted our accounts, deleted our page, deleted our groups. No cause, no rhyme or reason, no explanation, no definitive answer as to what specifically caused this. They just do it willy-nilly. And so these are not trustworthy business partners with which I could build a foundation for the New American Media. So X is super important at American_media_. And our podcast is available. The Agree to Disagree show covers the TNAM AM show and the Agree to Disagree show. So find the Agree to Disagree show on Spotify and Apple, please. And then these four places. Like I said, Patreon, if you wanted to assist us. We're on Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installments. We'll leave that at the bottom of the screen for you for a minute. All right. Jeremiah, live near the coast to, what is PEI? PEI. I know what DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. Is that perversity, equity, inclusion? No, I don't know what PEI. New Brunswick. Isn't that New Jersey, though? Okay. You're saying watermelons are really healthy. Okay. I did not know. Jeremiah saying he has a Viking ship ready to do it. Old school. He's going to get cremated, so he's not worried about the abortionists taking all of your human family body parts. Have a random hookup, abort a child, give them some mangled remains, and then they can go do Dr. Frankenstein stuff, or maybe clone it. Who knows? Who knows what they're doing? But what do they say? If the product is free, you're the product. Oh, they make abortion like free. Oh, Prince Edward Island. There we go. PEI. Thank you. Yeah, they say with social media, if the product is free, you're the product. The abortions, they're like free. They're like, here, have a Tic Tac. Here, have a stick of gum. Here, have an abortion. Now we get those sweet, delicious body parts. It's a rough scenario. It's a rough scene. And we all know people that have had abortions, and we all know people who are staunchly pro-life, and it's a divisive issue. And, in some regards, to each their own. That's what happened now because the Supreme Court said, no, we have a 10th Amendment. 10th Amendment's super important. We've lost track of it, but it says any powers not specifically delegated to the United States federal government by the Constitution, anything that's not specifically delegated to the feds is a states' rights issue. So handle it at a state level. And you can have different places based on different perspectives in the same country. Everything is not supposed to be top down. And you're seeing a systematic dismantling of the top down mess. David Ban checking in. David, how are you, sir? Thanks for joining us. Everyone, please hit like, please hit subscribe. But yeah, there's a lot of perspectives, but the states' rights issue is super important. We lost track of it. And President Trump has been removing some of this top-down centralized government from Washington back to everybody else, and kind of flipping the pyramid upside down a little bit. And I think that's, in general, going to be a very good thing. So much spending is getting removed from our budgets. And it really is life or death. 36 trillion on a credit card. They're saying we're spending more on interest payments than the entire amount that it costs to fund our military for a year. That's not only unsustainable. It's a walking dead bankruptcy. So, if you got to file for chapter this or that, you need to take the debt away from the debtors, whoever the banksters are that think that they're going to get perpetuity, free money from us forever. Pay that thing off and take our power back. I don't know why we've given power. And we have a story on the Federal Reserve private banking cartel that was initiated on Jekyll Island in 1913. Same year the ADL was passed. The same year Woodrow Wilson got us the income tax. Go back to 1913 and really let's see 112 years ago just how far we went wrong. And so there might be some initial hiccups and burps and birth pangs to building a new future. But yeah, I'm hopeful, but we gotta log into the news and figure out what's going on each and every day and figure out where we need to put our attention. Frankie checking in. What's up, Frankie? Frankie, where are you at? You're Florida, right? You're northern Florida. You're right by Kenneth, right? And I think Kenneth works mornings on Mondays and Tuesdays, so I might not catch him in the chat room today. Yeah, the tornadoes. I got messages, and I heard the sirens. It got wonky. I had a big chair launch itself into my fire pit. I mean, it was sitting near the fire pit, but it flipped it upside down and knocked one of the big bricks away. Holly! What's up, Holly? Holly is a super user. She is one of our mega members over in the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. She's a Cincinnati Reds fan. Glad to see you come on over here. I believe you're one of our common sense sports viewers. By the way, Holly, have I ever mentioned that we have Unhappy Hour coasters? In that pin, do you see the pin in there? There's only 100 of these. They're collector's items. Dun, dun, dun. Did I ever mention that I have these? What I need to do is I need to go through everybody on the Facebook list and say, hey, I got boxes of these, I got boxes of these, and I got these pins. I want to see if anyone in the group wants them. They're shaped in the state of Ohio. So you're at Cincinnati. You're like down here somewhere. I grew up somewhere around there. But yeah, in case anyone is interested, shoot me a Venmo with your address. One of these is 25. I'm sorry, one of these is 30. Two of these are 50, including shipping. And then the pin is 25. So it would just be 75 for all three if you want it. Shoot me a donation. It's at the bottom of the screen on Venmo at Brian Engelman. And I would send you, there's 4 of these. These are Ohio-made wooden coasters. Look at that. Ohio-made wooden coasters. Yeah, had an Ohio distributor make these. Went to the shop and toured it. And these pins are custom too. But anyway, you just reminded me that I do sports stuff and that I need to send a message to everyone in the group to try to get these into the hands of people. You're in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was confusing you with... Who was I confusing you with? There's somebody next to Kenneth that was like when he was hiking and like in northern Florida into, what was it, Georgia or something? Okay, you're Bowling Green, Kentucky. That's right. We have been through this. But good morning to you, Holly. Good morning to you, Frankie. Yeah, okay, you're in Bowling Green, Kentucky. How was the weather there, Frankie? Was the weather good for you in Bowling Green, Kentucky? Here in Louisville, like we heard the alarms, and I haven't toured all of my property yet, but at a quick glance, aside from that chair flipping, things seem fine. But yeah, it's just a reminder. You got to have a plan. You really have to be ready. If you're driving your Tesla and you get attacked by, I mean, let's just call the other people Nazis. Everybody's a Nazi, right? Everybody I don't like is Hitler. Okay. Everybody you don't like is Hitler. All right, cool. But if you're out driving your car and you get confronted by some wacky deep state rent-a-mob, what are you going to do? What's your plan? Yeah, I had people contacting me and it was like, hey, go down in the basement. I'm getting reports that the weather's really bad. Go to the basement. I'm like, I end up falling asleep on the couch. I end up only taking a nap, if I'm going to be honest. Why wouldn't I be honest? I'm always trying to be honest. It's my honesty that brings you back, right? Anyway, this has been awesome. Okay, so you had a great light show, but that was about it. I mean, look, you'll take it. You'll take it. But yeah, back to the news here. We're talking about Kentucky. Kentucky has banned non-U.S. citizens from funding any statewide ballot initiatives. I know Thomas Massey has been really big pushing that dual citizens. I don't know what this dual citizenship shit is. Dual citizenship shit. And I don't know what it is because the baseball season just started. Holly, for example, she's a Cincinnati Reds fan. I'm a Cleveland Indians fan. They call them the Guardians now. And my understanding is you can only play for one baseball team at a time. So who do you want to play for? The Reds? No, see, I want to play for the Reds and the Cubs. Cool story, bro. Pick a team. Well, no, but I have dual citizenship. I have dual contracts. No, you can't. That's conflict of interest. No, because like ethnicity or religion or something. Yeah, well then go get that out of here. Pick a team. Why do you get to play for two teams? You don't get to play for two teams. You play for one team. So anyway, Kentucky, Thomas Massey trying to push for that in Kentucky here. Non-U.S. citizens cannot fund any statewide ballot initiatives in Kentucky. That's a win. Let's take a look at this here. Homicides per 100,000 in El Salvador. Fun fact, I was on the way to El Salvador when a medical event with my family caused me to cancel said trip. Hindsight being what it is, who knows what could have been on the other side of that trip for me. Because it used to be a rough, sketchy place. Homicides per 100,000. Look at it here. In 2015, 103. Then in 2016, 81. So it goes 103, 81, 60, 50, 35, 21, 18, 7, 2, 2, 1.15. This is what happens when you take the people doing the crime off the streets, put people in prison, and keep people in prison. I used to say this all the time. 95% of the problems in your community are committed by 5% of the people. You can fiddle with the statistics if you want. But it's the same 20 idiots, junkies, dirtbags, and nut jobs who are committing all the problems. So round them up, get them the fuck out of here, protect your elderly, protect your children, protect your pets, protect your investment, protect your neighborhood, protect your GD way of life, and get the dirtbags off the streets. I can't tell you how many meetings I had in Los Angeles and how many they would arrest the bad guys and dump them right back on the streets the same day. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I got the hell out of there and haven't looked back. Part of me wishes I could have stayed there forever. Part of me, you know, I'm thrilled I'm gone. I love just having a little bit of space to myself. It was a lot of energy being in a condominium where you share a wall. There were like 2 autistic kids that were just the noise was through the roof. It was unlivable. They eventually had to move out. Like you need to stay. You cannot cohabitate with other people if you're bouncing off the walls, literally. You know, I had other neighbors, and you know they were okay, sort of. But when you're sharing a floor, you know, you can't work out or play drums, so you're sharing a wall and you can't listen to music. You're just, that's not the way you're supposed to live, people. So I miss Los Angeles. I wonder, had a couple of things gone differently, would I still be out there? Yeah, of course. But I'm thrilled to be out. Anyway, look at all that stuff in El Salvador. It's so much better now. That's what happens when you put the dirt bags away. Frankie saying the quality of life is much better here. Yes, it is. Did you also live in Northern California? No. Did you? Northern California? Okay, Jeremiah lives in the woods. He loves his freedom in the woods. Man, I have bushes and shrubbery and trees and stuff, but I don't have woods. Now I have woods right like very close. Got to worry about black bears from time to time. Yeah, I miss having woods. The 2 houses that I grew up in Ohio, I had my own plot of woods. The backyard was awesome. I got to play baseball and football back there. Had a basketball hoop out front to play basketball, and a park around the corner to go play tennis. It was great. But yeah, we had woods, and then everybody had like the backs of all their houses. So like it was just kind of like a communal woods. And my brother did accidentally light part of it on fire one day. Him and his buddy messing around. And then the next place that I lived, we had woods. Not as much. In fact, some of the neighbors built back into the woods to the point where you could see their house. You're like, yeah. You're supposed to look out and see nothing but woods. That's the goal, right? I don't know. The way people live, so compact like sardines, it's just not my cup of tea. All right, no, you've never been California. All right, you're Kentucky, North Carolina, West Virginia. David with a good question. What happens with dual citizenship people at tax time? I don't know. That's a good question. Jeremiah, it can't be dual. No one, if I can't be dual, no one should. You have to apply to be American. And I'll apply to be an American. All right, let's continue here. Talking about how end wokeness, saying how El Salvador turned it around by just taking the people who are doing the crime off the streets. Oh, hey, look, a dirtbag. Let's see what this guy did. This illegal from Guatemala was just arrested in Georgia for allegedly abusing 4 children. These kids are now traumatized for life. And Democrats are mad that he will be deported. 5 counts of gross, 3 counts of gross, 4 counts of gross, 4 counts of gross under the age of 16, 2 counts of gross. You know, I don't, to the pro-life people. You can get 500 acres for 300 grand Canadian. Yeah, but you'll be in Canada. I worry about your leadership up there. It's gotten as bad up in Canada as it is in Europe right now. Property rights and craziness. I guess it's potential for commie crazy stuff anywhere, I suppose. But 500 acres for 300 grand. So that's like less than $1,000 an acre. That's like $700 an acre. Hey, man, maybe we should chip in. Ooh, you just bought a waterfront project for 40 grand. Bravo, buddy. Bravo. But my question back to the story, for the people that are against the death penalty, why shouldn't you just put this guy? Why not? Why is this one somebody that needs to stay in prison forever or get deported? Why wouldn't you just end this person who comes into our country and messes with our people? Why isn't there a firing squad in the city square? Why aren't they hung from a lamppost after they receive their sentence from a fair and impartial jury? There's some people that say, oh, the better punishment is a life in prison. Tell me what value this human brings society. I would argue there's zero. Anybody that would abuse children, there's zero value to society. So just let's use the eraser and correct the mistake. Anyway. Would you say, David, the prices where you can, where you are, you can actually buy something, but not in the city? Yeah. Further away from the city, the better. Yeah, that once again, that's have a plan and be ready for anything. What is this? Leaked government documents are revealing that Sexy Red has been a CIA operative since 2018. From the Daily Nude, N-O-U-D, officials describe her mission as culturally critical with no further details. Outed as a covert CIA operative, according to newly leaked documents. Claims she's been working undercover since 2018 under the codename Agent Bow Wow. The exact nature of her mission remains classified, though officials describe it as highly destabilizing and culturally critical. I don't know who that person is. Am I supposed to? What is the CIA doing, man? Why do they hate you? Why does the CIA hate us? Help me make sense of that. All right, Miss Muckraker continues. There we go. Nurses at Newton Wesley Hospital. Oh, there's something with health. I got to put this up on the screen. But yes, please check out. Those are the places to donate. Those are the places over here where you can follow the New American Media. But right now, we'll put countervailing views. We're going to say you should go to the CDC and WHO websites because we're going to talk about medicine. Oh my gosh, heaven forbid. Nurses at Newton Wesley Hospital, according to Miss Muckraker's report, say that they're concerned about growing numbers of cancer cases among longtime nurses who've been working on a fifth-floor maternal care ward. You're going into work every day with that feeling in your gut, and it's a lousy feeling. A nurse who doesn't want to be identified tells WBZ-TV. She's speaking out after being diagnosed with a brain tumor and says she's not alone among her nursing colleagues. It's getting to the point where the number just increases and you start saying, am I crazy thinking this? This just can't be a coincidence. So that's a question. Is there an environmental factor, or is it a side effect or a result of putting something inside of your body? I don't know. Are they being exposed to... You got to ask those two questions. If you have clusters break out like this, is there something novel and unique about this work environment? Or is there something novel about the batch of medicine that could have been received, that could have been causing situations to develop? I don't know. Don't claim to know. But I think we should look into it. Breaking, nearly 5,000 allegedly illegal voter registrations on Milwaukee's voter rolls were found by Fair Elections Wisconsin ahead of the Wisconsin elections on Tuesday. However, the City Election Commission declined to investigate them. Oh, that you can't have that. Remember, Wisconsin was one of the 7 fraud states, swing states in 2020. You know, one of the 7 or so where Trump was up, President Trump was up by hundreds of thousands of votes. And then everybody magically stopped counting. And then over the next couple of hours, next couple of days, next couple of whatevers, oh, no, we magically found just the right amount so that Joe Biden could become America's most popular president of all time. Yeah, by the way, go to cisa.gov/rumor control because they'll tell you that was a completely legitimate election. Whereas I will not say that. I do not believe that. Has there been conclusive evidence that's been presented in a court of law that could confirm my suspicion and your suspicion? Nah. John Roberts made sure of that. Can we remove John Roberts? I think we should look into that. Go to cisa.gov/rumor control, everybody. Keep your eyes on Wisconsin. They're trying to steal it right now. Right here, this is such a funny story to me, says Miss Muckraker. Can't control your emotions, so you act like a child, and then you make an ass of yourself. And you're supposed to be poised, being employed at a luxury, high-class brand. Idiot. This is the woman whose MAGA hat meltdown in the subway went viral when her wipeout occurred chasing this guy trying to steal his property. She ate concrete here like a dork. What are you doing? Woman who's anyway. She's a luxury brand. If they had the video, I'd play it again, but they don't have it, so I won't. But if you haven't seen it, just type in Subway MAGA meltdown. Goofy people can't control their stuff. I'd say, what did we do? What did we do when we'd see people wearing Biden hats and Biden shirts? Would we get up in their faces at the gasoline station, says Maxine Waters? Would we get up in their faces at the restaurants and the gasoline station? No, we didn't. You know why? I'll tell you why. The reason why MAGA supporters did not get in the face of all the people wearing the Joe Biden hats and shirts is because nobody bought Joe Biden hats and shirts, and nobody wears Joe Biden hats and shirts because he was the most astroturfed, fake-ass, whack-ass candidate we've ever seen. Until Kamala, of course. Kamala! Yes. All right, back to this one here. Ricky Lynn. Kabling. There it goes. She is saying, to anyone crying over the cartoon photo the White House posted of the woman being arrested by ICE, keep this in mind. In 2022, fentanyl was responsible for 200 American deaths every day. I think it's American. It says 200 deaths. The United States has the highest rate of drug overdose deaths out of 30 countries. That's awful. By 2022, it was the underlying cause of nearly 70% of drug overdose deaths. According to the CDC, the number one killer of Americans aged 18 to 45 is a fentanyl overdose. My God. Overdose deaths in adolescents are on the rise, according to a new study. Experts say counterfeit pills are part to blame. She is a fentanyl dealer. Cry for the lives that she has ruined. I could be down with that.
The fact that you're
here's Dana White talking with Tucker Carlson. Which type of person are you?
the type of person that would actually hate somebody because of who they voted for shows me exactly who you are. I don't want to know you anyway. And I don't want to be friends with you either. So the feeling is very mutual. And it's not because of who you voted for. It's because of how you carry yourself. The fact that you're the type of person that would actually hate somebody because of who they voted for shows me exactly.
Okay, it repeated. But this is spot on. But it really is. I don't want to spend time around these wacky, indoctrinated sycophants. People with Trump derangement syndrome. It is a problem. And they are out there in the wild. They actually do exist. I've ran into one. That was weird. Here's a nice civics lesson for you sitting at home.
Spoke about Doge. You said roughly $50 billion is set to be cut in a year of waste, fraud, and abuse by unelected bureaucrats. We're hearing this ironic narrative from the president's critics and the left-wing media that Elon Musk is an unelected bureaucrat and he's doing all this terrible stuff. Isn't one of Doge's objectives to get rid of the federal bureaucracy, the deep state, and also who was running the White House when Joe Biden was in office? Because I don't know a single person who believed it was Joe Biden.
Yes, you're tempting me to say some very harsh things about some of our media friends. Yes, it is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level. Just one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers of the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people. Thank you.
And that's just well said. Anybody that doesn't get, oh, he's an unelected billionaire. Shut up. Do you want nitwits running things, or do you want people with a talent stack? Yeah, I like the guy who can innovate. I like the guy that can get in and figure out how to cut all of the waste. It's dire for our nation that we cut all of the waste, fraud, and abuse that we can. Donald Trump. All right, here we go. In case you missed it, President Trump is not ruling out a third term. The 22nd Amendment of the Constitution, ratified in 1951, prevents individuals from serving more than 2 terms as president. The amendment was ratified after President FDR was elected for 4 terms. All right, question for the group. Would you support President Trump getting a third term? You know, I have thoughts on this. I have many thoughts. One of those being, if there are no term limits on Congress, why is there a term limit on the president? Would I be more inclined to want to see term limits for both the president and for Congress? Yes. But if there are not going to be term limits for Congress, should we open it up to the president? I don't know. What's the argument? Let's take a listen. I don't know. What I do know is that would open the door for Barack Hussein Obama to run. Oh, Nelly. Oh, Nelly. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? And if that happened, who would win? Would it be very different? Or would President Trump win by even more now that we've seen him in action the second time around going, wow, whew, head spinning. But it's a story people are talking about. We will cover it and we'll talk about it. But type in the comments. What do you think about Trump serving a third term? It's being bandied about, the conversation at least.
I will eventually.
And then to all the people that said, oh, these people aren't going to get paid. They're not going to get the buyouts. It's a lie. Trump is a liar. Trump never pays people. Well, are they keeping their word?
Eventually stop sharing this with you, but as a federal employee, so many people, thousands of people, distrusted that the deferred resignation would be valid, that our government wouldn't pay us, our president, our vice president wouldn't honor the agreement that they've made. So I'd just like to make sure that you guys know that for the second time, we've been paid. I will eventually stop sharing this with you, but as a federal employee.
So that's another piece of fake news if someone says it. According to Toria Brooke, Richard Grenell, and President Donald Trump's envoy for special missions, he says he's a hard no on being the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. President Trump says Andrew Jackson's magnolia tree at the White House will be removed next week due to safety risks. Its wood will be preserved for high and noble purposes. He says, working together with a fantastic and very talented executive resident staff, along with the wonderful people at the National Park Service, we are making tremendous enhancements to the White House, thereby preserving and protecting history. One of the interesting dilemmas is a tree planted many years ago. Oh, there we go. That's way easier to read. Can I go left or right? No. Let's see. David saying, I don't know what to think about a third Trump term because of Trump's age. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, he's got that Benjamin Button thing going on, aging in reverse. He's getting slender. You know, sometimes when people lose too much weight too quick, you worry if they're unhealthy. But yeah, President Trump slimming up. I think that's a good thing, provided he's doing okay. The president continues here. One of the interesting dilemmas, because they're talking about enhancements to the White House. Are they building another wing? I think is that what they're doing? Let me ask Grok real quick. Let me do a fresh thread. Is Trump building a wing onto the White House? He is a builder. That is an old house. No evidence, but he did express interest in making significant modifications, including proposals that sparked discussion. Construction of a ballroom within the White House complex. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. During a signing ceremony in the East Room in February, revisited a proposal previously floated during the Obama and Biden administrations, building a large, elegant ballroom to replace the temporary tents often used for state dinners and large receptions. He suggested it would cost $100 million and offered to personally fund it, stating it's going to cost nothing. I'll spend the whole thing myself. The idea has not progressed beyond public statements, and any such project would likely require approval from multiple federal agencies and Congress, with no indication yet that formal plans or approvals are underway. News reports that Elon is expected to have an office space in the Eisenhower Executive Office building, part of the White House complex, but not the White House itself. Yeah, he's shown interest in altering the White House grounds, but there's nothing concrete at this moment. So that's what Grok is telling me. Anyway, one of the interesting dilemmas is a tree that's been planted many years ago by the legendary President Andrew Jackson, he says. It is a southern magnolia that came from his home, the Hermitage in Tennessee. That's the good news. The bad news is that everything must come to an end, and this tree is in terrible condition, a very dangerous safety hazard at the White House entrance, no less, and must now be removed. This process will take place next week and be replaced by another very beautiful tree. The historic wood from the tree will be preserved by the White House staff and may be used for other high and noble purposes. I'm wondering what that...
Mr. President.
Here's somebody who's been an American who was freed by the Taliban. Faye Hall talking to Mr. President.
I voted for you twice. First of all, I'm so glad you're in the office.
Why not 3 times?
It's the new era. And in this situation, I'm glad you're the president. And thank you for bringing me home. And I've never been so proud to be an American citizen. Thank you, Mr. President. And I just want you to know, all the women in the Afghan jail, they always ask me, when is Trump coming? You truly, they just treat you like their savior. they're waiting for you to come and set them free. And just sends regards, and just don't want to forget all those women are still in jail and don't have any rights. So thank you, Mr. President, and just God bless you.
I like seeing Americans coming home. I don't care who you are. That's good negotiation. Let's bring our people back. I wish he would have done more to get Otto Warmbier back. The abuse that he suffered in North Korea was just inhuman. Okay, in case you missed it, more than 300 student visas have been revoked as the Trump administration works to crack down on student protesters who express support for Hamas and other terrorist organizations, according to the Dakotan. The Dakotan. Mike Davis saying, Dear President Trump, please revoke Judge Boasberg's security clearance. He has demonstrated that he cannot be trusted with keeping secrets. Who would carefully curate a way to get Mike Waltz out? Someone who was burned and wishes they had the national security advisor role? Huh. Mike Waltz. Keep your eyes peeled. That's a name you've been hearing a lot of with these leaked piece of information. Was this the same thing that was? Yes, it was, I believe. Okay, moving on. Sometimes these double up. Rodney Smith says, when I lived in Seattle during the BLM riots, people would put out, please don't destroy my house business. I voted for Biden signs in the front yard. And now liberal Tesla owners have to make their cars say the same, or they have to mark their cars so that they don't get vandalized. Do they not see it? You are the bad people, bro. LOL. You are the bad people. So Donald Trump says he got a good call from a very good guy, a friend of mine, Kid Rock, asked me whether or not it would be possible for me to meet in the White House with Bill Maher, a man who has been unjustifiably critical of anything or anyone Trump. I really don't like the idea much, and I don't like it much now, but thought it would be interesting. The problem is, no matter how much he likes your favorite president, me, he will publicly proclaim what a terrible guy I am, much like the Democrats at my recent address to the joint session of Congress, where I stated correctly that no matter what I said or did, they wouldn't stand, they wouldn't applaud, they wouldn't smile or laugh, and certainly they wouldn't be in any way nice. Who knows, though? Maybe I'll be proven wrong. In any event, I'm doing a favor for a friend. I look forward to meeting with Bill Maher, Kid Rock, and I believe even the legendary Dana White will be present. It may be fun or it might not, but you will be the first to know. This is must-see TV right here. Yeah, I'd watch them chop it up for a couple hours. Absolutely. Republican Party sharing this. Breaking, this is the line to get into Elon Musk's event for Brad Schimmel. Schimmel or Scheimel? In the chat room. Do we know, is it Schimmel or Scheimel? Hopefully he wins and we'll have to hear his name a lot more. The line to get in is endless here. Countless people braving the freezing rain to attend the event. Elon says the IRS refund fraud payments are one of several means used by the Democrat Party to attract and retain illegal immigrants in the USA. That's why they're so opposed to DOJ stopping this. The Democrat Party is aiding and abetting fraudulent government payments to illegals in order to establish a permanent one-party majority nationally, just like they did in California. The more you look into it, the crazier it gets. Biden wanted this now. You wanted voter fraud, we won regardless. 2021, 270,000 non-citizens got Social Security numbers. 2024, 2.1 million non-citizens got social security numbers. Oh, hell no.
Walk, no running, walk. No corran, no hay prisa, no hay fila.
What are we doing to remove them immediately? We said our comment was this would be interesting if true, huh? President Trump. Here, let me put countervailing. Countervailing views is still up at the bottom. Then I'll take it off at the end of this. President Trump says Americans will see how the 2020 election was rigged. Or you could read the Time magazine article talking about how they fortified the election, essentially saying that they rigged it. Now, in 30 different ways, and some of those are probably legal, it wasn't right. And some of them were downright super sketch. All these drop boxes, the Zuckerbucks. Anyway, President Trump says Americans will see how the 2020 election was rigged when he declassifies all the documents from the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. That was an election that I won. I won by a lot. You're going to find that out. The documents are there. The numbers are there. We won that by a lot. We won 3 elections, and we did very well in the second one. So our comment was, wouldn't this be interesting if true? Because we've heard Trump make these same accusations, but where's the proof? That could be a little...
Yeah.
This is Brett Baer talking with Elon Musk.
A lot is coming your way, but sometimes you say stuff or post stuff that gets attention. You give it out, in other words. Democratic Arizona Senator Mark Kelly posted on X about his trip to Ukraine to push for continuing to send U.S. weapons and support there, and you posted that he was a traitor. Well, why do that?
Well, I think somebody should care about the interests of the United States above the interests of another country.
Yes.
And if they don't, they're a traitor.
Yeah, but he's a decorated veteran, a former astronaut, a sitting U.S. senator.
It doesn't mean it's okay for him to put the interests of another country above America.
Obviously, there are some Republicans who think supporting Ukraine is the right thing still, but there is a battle back and forth about how do you think it comes to an end?
Well, I think there will be a negotiated peace, and the thing that we should be concerned about is we should have empathy for the thousands of people that are dying every day in trenches, for no movement in the lines. So the borders remain the same. For the past 2 years, thousands of people have died every week for nothing. For what? And I take great offense at those who put the appearance of goodness over the reality of it. Those who virtue signal and say, oh, we can't give in to Russia, but have no solution to stopping thousands of kids dying every day. They just want that to continue forever. I have contempt for such people. I don't want to make that clear.
Yeah. So you're optimistic.
Because they're virtue signaling, and their lack of a solution means that kids don't have a father. It means that parents lost a son. For what? Nothing.
You know, a lot is coming your way, but sometimes...
For what? Obama, Biden, Victoria Nuland overthrew Ukraine. And they put that puppet Zelensky in. And they kept pushing for NATO, and kept moving closer and closer to Russia. They kept warning them, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Remember when America was fighting their proxy war against Russia in Syria? Oh, Assad gassed his own people. Oh, Putin blew up his own pipeline. You idiots with your same stupid narratives every time. It is so phony. It is so transparent. And it's a shame that Ukraine was overthrown by the Deep State Democrat Party. It's a shame that the Deep State Democrat Party put their puppet Zelensky in. It's a shame that Zelensky did the bidding of Obama, Biden, Nuland in the deep state. Oh yeah, Russia hoax. Okay, I guess everything we do has got to go after Russia. This makes a lot of sense. Sounds like a very unhealthy obsession to me. Very unhealthy. David saying that these criminals will steal everything that they can. Yeah, you're damn right about that. Bella's Chance chiming in on one of our questions of the day, saying the mere possibility of more Obama is enough to make me say no to a third term for anyone, though. I mean, that's a fair point. Although the Obama doctrine has been soundly rejected. His brand of racism is now, it feels so quaint and antiquated. It feels definitely, it feels like an ancient, dusty, disgusting relic of his brand of racism. And imagine it, half white, half black, instead of uniting the country. It's like all you do is focus on the half black part and just every single opportunity to drive black on white violence, black on white rage, black on white this and that. You took it every single time you could. Trayvon Martin, Bubba Wallace, Floyd, and pick your hoax. Charlottesville hoax. That asshole still out there repeating the Charlottesville hoax. Oh, Donald Trump, he was out there calling Nazis fine people. Now, you just can't vote for that. Never happened, and he knows it. Obama is the worst. I don't think he would have any chance of winning. Obama should already be in jail. Thank you. What are we waiting for? That's got to be one of the top priorities. Cash, Bondi, what are you waiting for? Yeah, Obama should be in jail. Okay, what about Tim Walz? He could have been our vice president. He says that we got ourselves in this mess because we didn't embrace wokeness, DEI. We didn't embrace wokeness, DEI, and immigration strong enough. Yeah, good luck with that. That is just hilarious.
That our strength is our diversity?
No, our strength is not our diversity. If you're playing baseball, you need everybody to understand what the plays are. What are the base running calls? What are the defensive positionings? What you need to be on the same page. No, that's not diversity. That's being on the same team of merit, the same team of expectations. The opposite of what Democrats push. No, diversity is not a strength. It's a weakness. You want every air traffic controller to be super competent at their job. You don't want, I need 30% women. I need 50% women. I need 50% black. I need 50% gay. I need this and that. No, you don't just get diversity for diversity's sake. You get the most qualified people, and that is uniting. That's not diversity. That's the opposite of diversity. That's being on the same team. This whole line, diversity is our strength, is such a terrible line.
We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants, and we let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define
a nation of settlers.
The issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, you damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in, and we're going to execute them. And so that our strength is our...
Yeah, I saw somebody, one of these Trump derangement syndrome people with a Ukraine flag in their bio, somebody I've known since high school. And they made this post about woke, and yeah, I'm woke and I'm proud to be woke. And it's like, good luck with that. It's just racism. It's sexism. It's just this lady saying, I'll do whatever it takes to keep pushing my racist, what is term for misogyny against men? What is that called? What is that? Sex-based discrimination, misandry. Oh, there's a lot of misandry. Yeah, but Tim Walz, buddy, got no clue, bro. Hey, did you see this one? You know, here's just another moment to show something that happens at a protest. Christians confront a satanic grotto leader, Michael Stewart, inside of a Kansas state capitol. And then
before the mighty and ineffable prince of darkness, Jesus Christ came in the presence of all the dread demons of the pit, and in this assembled company, I acknowledge and confess my past allegiance.
So somebody grabbed the thing out of his hand.
I acknowledge and confess my past.
Punching the guy. He got arrested.
I am not resisting. I'm not resisting. Yes, sir. I am not resisting. I am not resisting. I am not resisting.
No. Don't we feel bad about that? Now, I covered this a couple days ago. Representative Anna Paulina Luna talking about the JFK files. We certainly did not get everything. We've known that. Oh, the Epstein files. You didn't give us the Epstein lists. You didn't give us the information we need.
Actually has a
So let's talk about this.
video that's never
They said NBC has a video.
been seen before. We're actually going to be sending a letter requesting that from NBC because it allegedly shows Oswald near the vehicle when the assassination took place, which means that he couldn't have been the shooter. So again, we're tracking down all this information. But look, there's even a CIA document that came out that Mr. Morley pointed out that actually said that the CIA never bought the lone gunman theory. And so I think the American people had an inclination as to what we were saying, but we never had the hard evidence until now.
You're saying NBC has been keeping this tape of Oswald under wraps?
Correct. In fact, Director Stone actually told us that he was showed this tape, that it was a secondary copy, and that he said that this could blow open the entire JFK investigation. What I will also tell you, though, Jesse, is he said that NBC has been very, very much so guarding this tape. And so I believe that that tape belongs to the American people. We are going to be sending a letter asking for that tape. And I would encourage everyone to ask NBC to release that tape to the public. It's important, not just for our investigations, but so the American people know the truth as to what happened with John F. Kennedy. NBC actually has.
Now, I saw a picture that I won't share because I don't, whatever, but I saw a picture that someone was claiming. We put it on an episode a couple days ago, maybe over the weekend, the Saturday show. Maybe it was Friday or Thursday. Yes, Bella's Chance, misandrist, one who hates men. There's so much misandry going on. It's time to call it out. Oh, you're one of those guys? You're kind of tired of straight, white, Christian males being piñatas for everybody all day? As if you're not in charge of the world and you get everything handed to you on a silver platter. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Because it's bullshit. If you don't like being treated like a clown for things that are out of your control, like, you know, your genitalia or the melanin pigment of your skin or who you decide to sleep with or which flying spaghetti monster you decide to worship. Yeah. You know how, like, you don't like that? I don't like that either. And I'm sick of it. A lot of misandry going on. That's for damn sure. Yeah, let's listen to the CIA, shall we? That'll give us what we're looking for, David. But look, I saw a picture a couple days ago. It was on the show. Maybe David was with. I'm trying to remember who was there, but I saw a picture of somebody. I wasn't able to ID that person as Oswald just from glancing at the picture. Now, I don't know if that's what they're talking about. They said it's video, not a still. I'll wait to reserve my judgment. But like this whole, hey, we're releasing the information and then not releasing it, this whole gotcha stunt has gotten very old for me. I'm very sick of it, if I could be blunt. Here's a male Democrat voter. Oh, no. A male Democrat voter chased this woman down and repeatedly punched her for driving a Tesla.
Buy my car for a political statement. I bought my car because it's really fun to drive. And my politics have nothing to do with that. And I'm ashamed of our society and what they're doing.
This is video of a Tesla attack in Flagstaff last week. It shows a green car pulling up next to a Tesla on busy Route 66, then swerving in front to box the vehicle in. The driver then walks over to the 61-year-old woman in the Tesla and reportedly starts hitting her while she's behind the wheel.
I started to say, "You cut me off. What's your problem?" But I don't know how much of that got out, and he started to punch me with a closed fist.
At one point, the victim, who wants to hide her identity, says she bit the man's hand. Moments later, the passenger of the green car appears to walk over and pull the attacker away. They finally get back in their car and drive off.
I didn't buy my car for a political statement. I bought.
You know, if you could be a potential victim, you need to carry things on you to protect yourself. Don't allow some nut job to catch you slipping. Please, please, please don't do that. Have a plan and be ready, because these people are unhinged. Senator John Kennedy wiping the floor with a woke judge. These are usually very, very enjoyable moments of the show. By the way, hit like and hit subscribe, please.
I was looking at your resume. You went to Brown University, is that right?
I did.
And then you went to law school in California?
That's correct.
And you've worked for the Brennan Center?
I interned. I was a law student intern.
Okay. And you worked for the Center for Reproductive Law and Policy?
I was a law student intern there for 8 weeks during my 1L summer.
Okay. And you are a political activist, aren't you?
I am not. I'm a sitting United States magistrate judge.
Okay. All right. Do you remember an inmate named William McLean, also known as July Justine Shelby?
Yes, I know who you're referring to.
Okay. Mr. McLean raped a child, didn't he?
30 years ago, the petitioner in the habeas case before me.
Did he rape a child?
He pled guilty to that crime. Yes, it's abhorrent.
And then he raped a 17. He raped a little boy, right?
I believe that's correct.
The recidivism rate for child abusers is through the roof. These people do not get better. They are not, what am I trying to say? Rehabitable? Is that a word? I don't know if that's a word. The recidivism rate is through the roof. These people are, you can't be 100% likely that somebody's going to commit a problem again. You can be pretty close to it with abusers of kids, though. You can be pretty damn sure, because they don't stop. Their proclivities don't stop. You don't accidentally have a bad day or make a poor decision or in the heat of the moment, or you were distracted and, you know, or just, it was, there's 100 ways that people can just be like, you know, it got away from me. I don't know how that thing happened. That's fine. Not abusing kids. That's not something that you can talk your way out of. No, you just got to put those people away forever.
I believe he pled guilty to 2 acts of sexual violence.
And then he raped a 17-year-old girl, right?
Again, this case was handled by the state court in Indiana, but I'm
just asking you the facts. Don't stall on me now. Did he rape a 17-year-old girl or not after raping a 9-year-old boy?
I believe that's what he pled guilty to.
Okay, and then he went to prison, didn't he?
Yes, the petitioner was.
And then he came out and he sent child porn, basically adults raping little children, to another sex offender.
My God.
And he was sent back to prison, right?
The petitioner pled guilty to
Was he sent back to prison?
Well, that case was in the federal system, so.
Was he sent back to prison?
Yes, this time to federal prison.
Thank you. And then he decided to transition, and he became a female and started going by July Justine Shelby. Is that right?
Yes.
No, it's not right. You don't become something you're not. I don't put on a baseball hat and now I'm a baseball player, a professional baseball player. I don't get to put on my Homer Simpson mask and become a Simpson. I'm just wearing a mask. I've just disguised what I am. I'm not a cartoon. You cannot become something that you're not.
And Miss Shelby said, I don't want to go to a male prison. I want to go to a female prison. And the Board of Prisons said, what planet did you parachute in from? You're going to a male prison with this kind of record. And you sent him to a female prison, didn't you? You said that the Board of Prisons was trying to violate Ms. Shelby, former Mr. McLean's constitutional rights, didn't you?
I issued a report and recommendation to the district judge.
How could you possibly think this was an okay idea?
Recommending that the district judge transfer the petitioner to a women's facility. The district judge adopted that
the Board of
recommendation.
Prisons was trying to violate Ms. Shelby's, Mr. McLean's constitutional rights, didn't you?
So I based my decision on the facts that were presented to me in the record.
But it was
the facts that you can't become something that you're not. And if you're a biological man, you should be in jail with biological men.
Wasn't that your?
This is a very disqualifying lapse in judgment with this decision.
I recommended finding that under Estelle versus Gamble.
Why won't you admit that was your ruling? Are you ashamed of it?
I'm not. I'm answering the question. I applied Estelle versus Gamble.
Was that your ruling?
My recommendation was that the petitioner's serious medical needs were being denied by.
Serious medical needs? This is somebody suffering from gender dysphoria. It's not a medical need to play into the delusion. What is necessary is to be like, hey, you can be into whoever you're into. You can't become something that you're not. You can become comfortable with who you are. How she's twisting language here to try to justify what she did.
Keeping her in a men's facility.
A violation of the 8th Amendment, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And how big was Ms. Shelby, Mr. McLean?
I don't have a specific recollection. Your colleague just suggested that she was more than 6 feet tall.
And you told the Board of Prisons, well, she'll be okay. The other women in the female prison will be okay because it's only hypothetical that Ms. Shelby, Mr. McLean would reoffend again.
It's only hypothetical. You know, you're trying to make it seem like it wasn't almost a given. You don't have to study psychology, sociology, anatomy. Like you don't have to go very far to learn that the recidivism rate for abusers of this nature, they reoffend. They lack impulse control. There might be another whole percentage of people. A whole percentage of people that are, you know, what do they try to call them maps? Maps are just pedos that haven't abused yet. That's what that is. Maps are just pedos that haven't abused somebody yet. And they're saying that it was hypothetical. No, it was almost guaranteed.
After he's already raped a 9-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl and has been sending child porn through the mail. You said there's no chance he'll reoffend again. Did you say that?
Senator Kennedy, I based my decision on the record.
But am I right? Did you conclude that?
I don't have a specific recollection of that. I did recommend that after finding a constitutional violation.
What were you thinking in saying there's no, it's only hypothetical that she would reoffend?
The facts of the case were that the petitioner had last engaged in a contact offense 30 years ago. The petitioner had not engaged in any contact offense. In addition, the medical evidence made clear that for the last 5 years, the petitioner was sober and hormonally entirely a female, and there was no evidence.
Entirely a female? No.
Board of Prisons didn't agree with you. I'm not going to run out of time here. You're really a political activist, aren't you?
I'm not, sir.
But your record demonstrates otherwise.
I disagree. I apply the law to the facts and come to a fair decision. All of my decisions that have been appealed, particularly this one, the district judge adopted my report and recommendation in full, and the government did not move for a stay of the decision.
This is what you're voting for and what you're voting against. This is what's at stake in America. This is why these Wisconsin and Florida votes matter. You cannot cede control of the House. You cannot let anybody appoint any of this stuff anymore again. Wow, my cat. Ben today, he's pretty loud. Anyway, it's worth knowing.
Do you like that his factory
All right, here's some more protest footage of the Tesla Astroturf.
is in America?
Do you like that Teslas are built by Americans in America? And he says, do you like
that you're a fucking prick? This is the Tesla protest. Should we have tax credits for electric vehicles? I just want to say you're really beautiful, and if you're protesting, you're way too pretty to be here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. What about him do you like?
I think he's a fascist.
Yeah, but should we really be giving gorillas in Botswana condoms? Do you believe in tax credits for electric vehicles? Fuck you!
Now that girl, she was there in New York. She's I forget her name and I don't care. She does performative whatever she does. Anyway, bunch of goobers. All right, let's go to Bongino here. Bongino working with Kash Patel now at the FBI. According to this post,
they had to shut this thing down.
Ukraine, Zelensky, Biden, USAID.
And that's where USAID came in. Check this out.
Let me ask you one thing before I forget. Privat Bank. I understand the governor of the bank.
And by the way, every time I hear audio, like I have to ask, is this confirmed audio? Is this real audio? I don't know.
Is tentative about setting a date certain for the transition to take place. And I'm being told secondhand that, I don't know this is her position for sure, that she is unsure of a date until she gets an agreement from you. Here's what I've told them. I've told them to get back to her and set a date, and I would talk to you about the date. Because this is getting very, very close. What I don't want to have happen, I don't want Trump to get in the position where he thinks he's about to buy onto a policy where the financial system is going to collapse and he's going to be looked to pour more money into Ukraine. That's how he'll think about it before he gets sophisticated enough to know the detail.
And by the way, I do remember hearing this before, so I believe it's verified video.
So anything you can do to push the Privat Bank to closure so that the IMF loan comes forward, I would respectfully suggest is critically important to your economic as well as physical security.
Did you just hear him threaten? That's low-key threatening this dude. It's crucial to your physical security. He's saying, I'm going to wreck you if you don't do this. That's one interpretation of what he's saying there.
No, it's difficult. I know Kolomoisky is a pain in the ass and a problem for everybody, but it really is critical.
Do you guys see what's going on here? We play this one first for a reason. Biden is basically threatening the Ukrainian president prior to Zelensky. Hey, man, your physical security could be at risk if you don't shut this down right away. Notice what he's talking about. He's afraid Donald Trump is going to start looking into the money going to Ukraine. That's what that whole thing is about. He's afraid of Privat Bank specifically, which is a bank alleged to be involved in the payments between Burisma and the Biden family through Hunter Biden. He doesn't want, very simply stated, he is terrified that Ukraine, Poroshenko, is going to start asking President Trump for Ukrainian money. President Trump and his team are going to start looking at the money that went over there and find what? Maybe that USAID funds were involved in the attacks on Donald Trump, the collusion hoax, and the other stuff. You get what's going on here?
Do you get it? That's why they're big mad at Elon. Hey, look at this. This Myanmar earthquake that just happened. Saw this video. Just want to share this with you. Chinese nurses protecting newborn babies. Look at them. That is a tough gig right there. Yeah, those videos are wild coming out. Once again, have a plan for all sorts of things. And floods to fires to earthquakes to Tesla attacks. Like, you just never know what could happen. So just try to be alert. Try to be alert. Try to be lethal. Try to be effective. Try to have tools. Try to be, self-defense mode. You never know when you're going to have to enter self-defense mode, but it should be a operating protocol that guides the rest of your day. All right, so here's a sassy racist congresswoman and the leader of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett, attacking Congressman Byron Donalds because he married a white woman. Is this real life? A resurrected clip from a 9-month-old Breakfast Club interview. Wow.
If we continue to put people into office, and that even means some of our skinfolk who definitely are not our kinfolk, such as Byron Donalds, who are going to continue to say that, the fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow, is this because you don't understand history? Or literally it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you? I'm not really sure, what it is.
Well,
but
you
I
couldn't
need
even be married to a white woman under Jim
correct,
Crow.
Correct. And it took Joy to call him out. So I'm like, bruh, what are you talking about? What are you saying? He just out here, I feel like they give him his talking points and he's like, yes, massa, I got it. And it's not enough. And if we continue to put people into office, and that even means some of our...
Wow. I said the Obama doctrine has failed, and the race baiters like Jasmine Crockett are universally loathed by America. Here's a nice Peter Griffin meme. Hey, look. Or no. Hey, look. The coexist people are burning stuff down again. The coexist people. Burn. Here's Elon at the Wisconsin event. There's an operative in the crowd, and Musk calls him out.
So, it was inevitable that At least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. Give my regards to George. Say hi to George from me.
Say hi to George. Say hi to George for me.
USA, 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 USA. Yep.
We're on such an interesting timeline, people.
What should we
Scott Jennings again
do about it? I hear Democrats arguing, well, we should fire Pete Hegseth. We should fire the National Security Advisor. That's not going to happen. The bar for
this is about the that Jeffrey getting added from the Atlantic to the signal text.
firing people like this is really high from the last administration. He's exactly right. After the Afghanistan withdrawal, which was a disaster, people died. No accountability was meted out.
Not one bit.
After the drone strike that vaporized those poor kids and that family, no accountability. That's a good point. After the Secretary of Defense went AWOL, no accountability. Nope, not at all. So if you're arguing today that we should get rid of Pete Hegseth over a small mistake regarding communications, even while he was expertly executing this military operation against the Houthi rebels, which also the Biden administration didn't take up. I don't have a lot of time for that argument today, and neither does most Republicans.
The fact is, we really don't care.
What should we do about it? I hear Democrats arguing, well, we should.
It's a whole lot of nothing. I believe the story is come and gone now. Oh, speaking of a story that's come and gone, Ben Shapiro thinks there's really no good reason to pay attention to the JFK. It doesn't matter who took him out. Oh, really? Is that because you have a vested interest in this somehow? Or what?
About all this is
on the Jimmy Dore show.
I don't care who killed JFK. I mean, I do because it's really interesting. But I noticed that the calendar says 2025, and he was killed in 1963. And so my opinion about who killed JFK has about as much relevance as who killed William McKinley, or James Garfield, which is to say, not an enormous amount.
That is not as significant.
Wow.
Wow, not an enormous amount is how much self-awareness he has while he says something.
That's
like
right.
That. Well,
hey, it doesn't matter who Jeffrey Epstein had sex with or who's on the list. That's because the island's already for sale. Who cares?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm canceling my tour of Auschwitz because it was over 80 years ago. Jimmy.
You know what? Does the Holocaust matter?
Who cares about who did the Holocaust?
Oh, I could think of another tragedy that's interesting that you would lose your mind if someone said, why are we still talking about this? And I don't say that. I think we should keep that in mind because of the many Holocausts being perpetrated by the good guys right this second. I think we should never forget it, but we have.
So here's how I responded to this. Why does it actually matter who shot JFK? Or another title is Why It's Okay That Israel Killed JFK by Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
When Israel owns you, they don't F around. Hey, by the way, here's another article I can't wait to see. Why does it matter where the COVID virus came from? By Anthony Fauci.
Hey, maybe we did a high-tech bioweapon. Maybe Chinese people eat dirty food. I mean, what are you going to be a racist and blame the lab? I didn't think Israel was this involved, by the way. I honestly did not.
Right until now.
I've seen reports that information that just came out from the JFK files, air quote, redacted stuff that was already known. We had the same phenomenon with Jeffrey Epstein. And the stuff that was redacted was allegedly relating to Israel. So if Ben Shapiro's trying to brush this under the rug, if Jimmy Dore and Kurt Metzger and these other people are correct in calling this out and pointing the blame at Israel, why would Israel be America's strongest ally if they killed our president? Is that something that happened? Why would that be covered up? Why would we accept that? Guys, I got a lot of questions here.
I'm like, did they do it? Why would you say this?
Yes. So, Wally Rashid tweets out, Ben Shapiro, I don't care who JFK. JFK was stopping Israel from developing a nuclear bomb, was forcing AIPAC to register as a foreign agent.
Why wouldn't AIPAC register as a foreign agent? They are foreign. They are an agent that is trying to influence American politics. If you are trying to get the Chicago White Sox information as a covert character in the Cleveland Indians baseball team, Cleveland Guardians. Yeah, we would want to know about that. You're damn right we want to know about that. You're trying to sabotage us? Oh, hell no.
Demanded
allegedly
did Israel accept 800,000 Palestinians displaced from their home in 1947. I wonder why Ben doesn't care who killed JFK.
Yeah, the last one is what sealed JFK's fate, that last one, because I know we and also Israel will kill people for that. You'll be deposed if you dare do something like that, say Israel has to let them back in the place where they're from.
About all this is
this comment says JFK wanted to dismantle the CIA and stop their meddling in foreign governments and regime change operations. Oh man, it's going to be an interesting go, I think.
Democrats
Here's more Jasmine Crockett. Oh, the leader of the Democrat Party.
have never endorsed political violence.
The Democrats have never endorsed political violence. Can you believe she could say something with a straight face like that?
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
Yeah, see, I got to mute that because Google will say that's copywritten material. That's a clown music. Goofballs. Wisconsin, vote appropriately tomorrow. Make sure this monster doesn't get to the Supreme Court. Here you go. Oh, there we go.
First one, in 2020, you did sentence a child sex offender to 4 years in prison after prosecutors requested 10. Do you regret that sentence?
Yes, I don't regret that sentence.
On these ads we're seeing, you referenced one. In 2020, you did sentence a child sex offender to 4 years in prison after prosecutors requested 10. Do you regret that sentence?
Yes, I don't regret that sentence.
On these ads.
Now, there's a second part of that. I'd like to hear it, but, you know, make criminals terrified again, shall we? What was the okay, yeah, vote Brad Schimmel. It's us. All right, here's an accusation. Jackson Hewitt
Like this.
handing out flyers to illegals, telling them that they can get up to $14,000 from the government in tax returns, whether they have worked or not. I'm sorry, what are we watching here?
Like at all the shelters and stuff.
But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
This is Savannah Hernandez in front of the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City. Now, we wanted to come check in on the migrant crisis, and as we were walking around, we saw a Jackson Hewitt table out here with an employee who was handing out this flyer. Now, what this flyer says is working or not, file your taxes, and we can get the maximum refund for your family. And the paper says that if you have one child, you can get over $7,000 in a refund, and if you have up to 3 children, you can get over $14,000. So the Jackson Hewitt employee who initially handed me this paper, after finding out I was a journalist, took the paper away. That's why this one's so dirty, because a migrant ended up giving me another copy, and he stated that if he's put on camera and this goes out, that legal will have to get involved.
We do this stuff like this, like at all the shelters and stuff. Right?
But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
So you guys are trying to help the migrants with their taxes then,
Yes.
to help them get refunds, help them get some money back from the government?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, we're just going to go try to talk to them.
Can't put my footage.
Can we take one of your papers, though, just so we can kind of... Thank you.
Actually, you should just take this one.
because this one has my office information, and
Okay.
so therefore legal would have to get involved. So that's
Okay, so just wanted to give you guys an idea of, again, what migrants have been told in New York City. Now that tax season is coming up, they are being given official flyers from Jackson Hewitt themselves on how to file their taxes. We have the Trump administration that is currently in office, and they have been promising mass deportations, but in sanctuary cities like New York, where you've had over 200,000 illegal immigrants make their way to this area, the crisis is very much alive and well. Now, this shelter behind me is actually set to close in June, but you have another shelter that was just opened up in the Bronx with 2,200 beds specifically for single migrant men. So the crisis very much alive here in New York City that has already spent $7 billion on migrants over the last couple of years. Wanted to give you guys an update as of March 2025.
So I'd love to know some more about that. How are people that are not legally here, how are they getting money? All right, this is a big story that happened over the weekend. You've seen that Vladimir Zelensky is kind of balking at the peace deals. And he said something over the weekend that President Putin he'll be gone soon, that he won't be around, or he'll be dead soon. Something along those lines. And then this happened over the weekend. Let's play this. It's an assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin after one of his limos exploded. This coming after Putin will die soon, and it will all be over. And yes, the blowback could be devastating.
Comme l'a fait d'ailleurs Donald Trump dans le bureau ovale, des contre-vérités. Alors la question est la suivante. Est-ce que la Maison-Blanche, selon vous, a adopté la propagande du Kremlin?
Путін кого боїться? Давайте спочатку з цього. Путін боїться тільки своє суспільство. Дестабілізація його суспільства – це те, чого він боїться. Ну, втратити свою силу. Це також має, щодо стабільності суспільства залежить, але і залежить від його років. Він помре скоро, це факт, і все закінчиться.
Okay, so that actually showed you the video I was referencing. He will die soon, is what Zelensky said about Putin. And just to remind you of where we've been, this stuff feels like it was a bad dream, but we can't forget it. Sanjay Gupta, doctor, from CNN, sitting with Rogan as he's confronted with the reality of what he's been peddling.
All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going so fast. Like I feel like I'm missing. Do
you think that's a problem, that your news network lies?
Well, I don't.
Dude,
what did they say?
They lied.
What did they say?
I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
they
with
shouldn't have said
a
it was
bunch of other medications.
If you got a human pill, because there were people that were taking the veterinary medication, and you're not, obviously, you got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin can be a very effective medication for parasitic disease, and as you say, it's probably, I think 250 million people have taken it around the world.
More,
I get that.
Way more.
So
way more. Billions of people have taken it.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about?
Two
things on the ledger.
And it's not billions of people, it's billions of doses. Billions of doses for free. Remember that song, Millions of Peaches by Pot USA? I haven't heard Pot USA in so long. The music was kind of cool. It was very catchy.
Before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
You didn't ask? You didn't think that was you're the medical guy over there.
I didn't ask. I should have asked before.
But they did it with such glee.
No,
yes,
Joe.
they did. I watched.
You watched?
I watched.
You watched. No, I don't think there's
yes,
glee.
They did.
No one takes.
Joe Rogan says he has COVID, taking livestock drug despite warnings. Yeah,
Jamie had to pull this up.
You want to play it?
Does she?
This is your news network.
I'm gonna watch.
Let's see.
I'm gonna watch. All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going so fast. Like I feel like I'm missing.
Do you think that's a problem?
There you go. Yeah, it was a big problem, and thank you for calling it out. We can't let these people off the hook. Dude, check this out. I was not aware of this scam, but I am now. This is on my radar. Someone's having a fantastic Christmas. I don't know when this was from, maybe a couple months ago, but it says homie finessed employees at a cash for gold store. And he gets away with $21,000. Check this out.
Cameras. Now watch as the suspect walks up to the window at a cash for gold store. He shows employees a bag of jewelry. Once they determine the jewelry is real gold, they offer the man $20,000. The suspect asks for more money. The employee says no, and the man takes back his jewelry. He starts to leave, but then turns around.
He then says, well, will you do 21, which was more reasonable? And I told him, yes, we could do that. And that's when he hands us back the fraudulent bag of jewelry that he switched out and walked out the door with our $21,000 cash.
Yep, somehow he switched bags, and inside the new bag, counterfeit jewelry. Totally worthless. The suspect got away with the $21,000 in cash and the real bag of jewels. Cameras. Now watch.
I didn't know you could make a quick change like that. I didn't know that was a successful method. I didn't even have it on my radar. So when I saw it, I thought it was interesting. I figured I'd share it. More Tesla craziness, more Astroturf. Leftists lying in the street, blocking access to Tesla in Manhattan, calling for the death of Elon Musk. None of them even know what they're protesting. Democrat politicians called for this after fraud committed by them was exposed by Bill. It is a weird obsession. Look, I get it. The money that's funding these idiots is going to dry up. They don't get to rob us to pay these people. That can't happen soon enough to stop this. The very last thing this girl says is pretty interesting. And it's kind of like a humorous post. So it's them. ADHD doesn't sound all that bad. You're extremely intelligent, creative, and you seem to have a lot of energy. What's the big deal? And then it says, my brain at 3 a.m. after laying there for 4 hours trying to fall asleep. Here's what is going on in the brain. What if all of the
for the ancient Greek sculptures are actually all victims of Medusa?
What if all the ancient Greek sculptures are victims of Medusa, who turned them to stone? I had never once considered that. Holy shit.
Sleeping is considered lazy, but going to bed early is not. So strange. The object of
sleeping is considered lazy, but going to bed early is not. I like this one about golf. The object of golf
is to play the least amount of golf. Brushing your teeth is the only time you clean your skeleton. If people don't
brushing your teeth is the only time you clean your skeleton. I like these. These are interesting. She says people don't recognize
Clark Kent as Superman with his glasses. Does his eye doctor know his true identity? Have you ever noticed how supervillains always try to change things?
This was interesting. Do you ever notice that supervillains always try to change things? That would be progressive.
And superheroes are the ones trying to prevent change.
And superheroes are trying to prevent change. We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States, said Barack Obama. Trying to fundamentally transform the United States. No. We'd like to stay constitutional, please. Limited government. The opposite. I guess that's conservative. So that one was maybe the most interesting part to me there. Conservative versus progressive. So are you aware of what's happening all across the globe? Sorry, I had the wrong aspect ratio on. What's happening around the globe is anyone that's not controlled by the deep state is being Well, it exactly lawfared how they did to Trump. Trump was a rare case that avoided it, escaped it, and succeeded despite it. But they've done it to Bolsonaro. They've done it to Georgescu. Now they're doing it to Marine Le Pen. So let's talk about this and see what we have. Full screen? I guess full screen's the way. Ryan James Gerdusky here, shared from D and Fringe, says a European judge is basically jailing the entire leadership of France's largest right-wing political party. So right now, Luis Alliot, oh, I can't read this. Okay. Let's scroll past it. Europe Elects says from France, presidential candidate Marine Le Pen has been sentenced to 4 years in jail and banned from holding public office for 5 years for embezzlement. By the way, this is what they were trying to do to Trump with the insurrection. Remember the mostly peaceful protest where some people did some things? Ryan James says this is literally insane. Jail time and banning her from running for president because used EU money designated for AIDS to pay for AIDS that also worked for the political party. She didn't steal money. Things are getting weird everywhere.
Pierce County.
Speaking of weird, a Washington bill passed that would allow illegal aliens to become cops, but the sheriff is pushing back. Pierce County.
Sheriff says he will not hire anyone who is not a U.S. citizen. This comes after Senate Bill 5068 unanimously passed. That bipartisan bill would allow law enforcement to hire anyone who is legally allowed to work in our country.
Pierce County Sheriff's Office will not hire any non-U.S. citizens under my watch. Under Senate Bill 5068, this would allow law enforcement to hire anyone who can legally work in the U.S. All applicants would still need to go through an extensive background check. Sheriff Keith Swank says that he's against this for several reasons. First, the sheriff says he supports non-U.S. citizens working in the U.S., but just not with law enforcement, where he says deputies can arrest, shoot, and even kill. He talks about if he wanted to hire non-U.S. citizens, his question is, how would he even vet them?
We check everything out from your childhood the whole way to the present day whenever you apply to be here. If you're from a foreign country, we don't have that ability to check.
Pierce County Sheriff says he...
Yeah, you don't have that ability. Washington with a tough decision here. You should say that illegal immigrants can carry guns. Or you need to pass more gun laws. Which one is it going to be? Washington State consistently ranks last in the nation for law enforcement officers per capita, with the state's officer to population ratio being significantly lower than the national average. They're desperate. Washington cop shortage persists statewide as lawmakers gear up in Olympia. Madness. Joey Manorino here says that a Democrat state senator in New York just proposed banning all Tesla dealers in the state. But Republicans are the fascists. Thank you. That's a wild comparison. If you look, shared from the White House, actual real women at the White House, they have a defiant message to the left.
Look at feminism today, it doesn't make sense. The left has tried to erase what it means to be a woman.
It is so important that our future generations understand that there are two sexes.
What an incredibly refreshing change to have President Trump back in the White House, where we are seeing women, real women, recognized once again.
President Trump is the first president who has truly put women first.
President Trump has a vision, and alongside so many incredible women that are here today, we're going to make that vision a reality.
If you
check in, how's the UK doing? Raging West says, starting Tuesday, white men in the UK will be sentenced to longer prison terms than women and non-whites. According to Raging West, the British Sentencing Council has decided that starting Tuesday, white men will be sentenced to longer prison sentences than women and non-whites, according to reports. The Daily Mail says Labour is powerless to prevent two-tier justice measures coming into force next week after ministers were defied by the Sentencing Council. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said he was disappointed with the independent body's decision to press ahead with guidelines which will give minorities special treatment in the courts. The measures, which will take effect on Tuesday, recommend all ethnic minorities and transgender people committed of a crime should be treated differently by judges and magistrates after being convicted of a crime. That's insanity. It is the definition of racism. And that's when you know you must tear down the government. All the comments. I mean, they're, wake up, United Kingdom. You need to cast off the shackles or whatever you've been overthrown with. And by the way, you need to get your rights to firearms back. Okay? You never give up your right to defend yourself, or else shit like this starts to happen. They might actually think twice if there was something else going on here. All right, here is Elon talking about taking a question about the Federal Reserve.
Opinion on the Federal Reserve, and do you have any intentions of doing anything with them?
And the Fed. Yeah, I don't know. I always wanted to say that, you know. But I mean, I think there's like 20,000 people that work at the Fed. Seems pretty high. It's like there's a lot of people that work at the Fed, and it seems like, why do we have so many people at the Fed, and what do they do? And you know, sometimes I wonder which one would win. You know, the federal for interest rates, the board of the Federal Reserve, or a magic 8-ball. And I'm like, I think the magic 8-ball might win. You know. So then I'm like, well, magic 8-ball is a lot cheaper. So you know, it's like you shake it, it says check back again later. I'm like, okay. Same thing.
Is your opinion on the Federal Reserve, and do you...
Given the non-stop work schedules that Elon and President Trump use, I wonder if he means a different kind of magic 8-ball. Actually, I'm going to leave that quote. Based on the non-stop energy from Musk and Trump, one might wonder if Elon is actually mentioning another kind of magic 8-ball. Oh, I don't think that's
your opinion on the Federal Reserve, and do you have any intentions of doing any...
I got this new mouse. I don't love it. It has these two buttons here, and it clicks you ahead and it clicks you behind different pages. And I tap those two buttons way more often than I would like to. President Trump chimes in about the court system because it's, you know, a couple of judges don't get to run the country. The president does. They're elected by the entire country. But just I think it's backward. If a judge thinks something needs to rise to the level of something else, it should go to the Supreme Court first. They should have to petition the Supreme Court to weigh in and say, yeah, you know, I think you do have jurisdiction over here. I do think you found something unique. I don't like that a quick judge gets to stop things, and then you got to run it all the way up to the top to figure out if it can be undone. But President Trump says people are shocked by what is going on with the court system. I was elected for many reasons, but a principal one was law and order, a big point of which is quickly removing a vast criminal network of individuals who came into our country through the crooked Joe Biden's open borders policy. These are dangerous and violent people who kill, maim, and in other ways harm the great people of our country. The voters want them out and said so in record numbers. If it was up to District Judge Boseberg and other radical left judges, nobody would be removed. The president wouldn't be allowed to do his job, and people's lives would be devastated all throughout our country. Make America great again. How much of this can I read? Laverne Spicer. Dear Jasmine Crockett, don't nobody want to be kinfolk with your MFing racist ass. Just when I breathe a sigh of relief, the Kamala's lying ass is gone. Here the F you come. How effing dare you try to shame Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman when it's MFers in your own party that did the same exact thing? Kamala, who ain't black, married a white man. Ilhan Omar married a white man. Ketanji Brown Jackson married a white man. Don Lemon married a white man. AOC is pretend engaged to a white man. Why ain't you going after them, witch? Yeah, Laverne Spicer's always good for a fiery retort.
And then Social Security.
Not a lot of context here. I know I shared a couple more, so let me just skip. Well, okay. Antonio Gracias, you're welcome, talks about how the fraud in Social Security and voter fraud works. It's 12 minutes of much-watched TV. But here, let's just listen to him real quick.
Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number.
Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number.
No interview.
No interview.
No ID.
And no idea.
Worth just reiterating, it's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep. They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which they.
But I had this comment up. David just said, with all of the crazy shit happening all over the world, what are the white hats waiting for? Didn't we say the same thing for about 4 years? 4.5 years? There's no way November 2020. Come on. Jump in. Stop this. Get them. Get them. You caught them, right? Get them. I don't know. What are the white hats waiting for? Are there white hats? Or is this all just a dog and pony show? I don't know, man.
There would be no escape.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it. And Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through on every benefit program we went through. We found groups from this particular, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail.
All right, it clips off there. 2.1 million non-citizens got Social Security numbers in 24. How in the hell is this happening? They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program, says this guy. What's the guy's name? Gracias. They weren't asleep. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and making it a deep blue one-party state from which there would be no escape. Gracias. Human traffickers made $13 to $15 billion off of this. This is a human tragedy. We created a system that created an incentive for people to come here and get taken advantage of by these traffickers. Musk. This is not made up by the right. This is absolutely true. The real reason for these attacks and the burning of the cars is that we're going to turn off the payments to the illegals. Wall Street Ape says, holy crap, Democrats did give millions of illegals Social Security numbers. They were registering to vote. Elon Musk has confirmed they did vote. Democrats qualified illegals for max Social Security benefits. They enrolled in Medicaid with their new Social Security numbers. This is treason. Where are the white hats? We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid as an example. We've gone through on every benefit program we went through. We found groups from this particular group of people. There's 5.5 million people in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why we were asking ourselves why. So we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records, and we found people. I mean, this sounds like a smoking gun to me. Joey Manarino says the media spends so much time trying to convince Americans that the rest of the world laughs at Donald Trump. That is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard. And anyone who has actually traveled outside of America knows this. Talk to people. Talk to the taxi drivers, the baristas, the people working in the grocery stores. Talk to them and you'll understand what they really think of Trump. They all yearn for someone who would put their country first. They don't have that in most of the world. They might think Trump is a bit comical or a bit crass, but they'd almost all trade him in for what they've got in their countries. Yep. And this one here, Joey Gilbert saying Trump was right. We were lied to again.
Right about Ukraine. And now the media is quietly admitting it. Look, you don't have to like Trump. You don't have to support Putin, but you may want to pay attention for a moment because something massive just shifted. The Hill, one of the biggest political outlets in DC, just dropped an article called, sadly, Trump is right on Ukraine. That headline alone is enough to make half the media scramble for damage control. But what's inside that article is even more powerful. They admit that the war in Ukraine wasn't unprovoked, that it was Ukrainian right-wing militants who ignited the conflict back in 2014, long before Russia took Crimea, that Zelensky, far from being a hero of peace, rejected multiple peace agreements, pushed for NATO military involvement, and amped up aggression in the Donbass region. He banned opposition parties, shut down the media outlets, and then begged for more weapons to defend democracy. In the West, they didn't just let it happen. They funded it. They armed it. And they sold you a one-sided story on every major network day and night for years. They told you this war started in 2022, that Russia attacked unprovoked, that Zelensky was the last man standing between freedom and tyranny.
You've heard that a bunch, but what was it really?
That was a script.
Yep.
And if you questioned it, you were labeled a traitor, a Putin.
Yep, a Putin puppet. Pin the tail on Russia, pin the tail on Russia, pin the tail on Russia.
Puppet, or even worse. But now, even the Hill is admitting it's not that simple. And here's what they're not saying out loud. Trump said all this years ago. He said NATO expansion was reckless. He said West was playing games in Ukraine. He said we were headed for a war we didn't need. And now the same media that mocked him is quietly backpedaling. So why now? Because the narrative is cracking, because independent journalists, alternative media, and everyday people like us kept pushing for the truth. Because mainstream media knows people are waking up. The same people who lied to us in Iraq and Afghanistan have been lying about Ukraine, and now they're getting caught. So no, I'm not a pro-Russia. I'm not a pro-Zelensky person. I'm pro-truth, pro-reality, and pro-peace. Yeah. And here's the thing. You don't have to pick a side to see what's going on. You just need to pause, zoom out, and do a little bit of digging, because once you step outside the media filter, the picture changes. You start to see how much we've been manipulated, not just into war, but into turning on each other. The elites thrive on distraction, on outrage, on fear. But now? So before you start replying with hateful words, take a moment. You have the chance to think for yourself. Question why you're so angry, and look at what is being presented in front of you. I challenge you to do it. Not for Trump, not for Putin, not for a flag. Do it for the truth. Do it for peace. So share this, because war thrives on lies, and peace starts with waking up. Trump was...
That's a good line. Yeah, you got to go back past 2022 to understand what's going on. Yeah, here's Elon at this event, and a pastor speaks up. No volume. Volume.
But if it's okay with you, I would love for him to say a prayer for you as well, for your protection.
Sure. Thank you.
Elon, well, thank you so much for everything you've done for our country. We do love you very much.
Thank you.
And as a pastor, but just as a person, right? And even if I wasn't a Christian, and I know not everyone here is a Christian, but I think there's quite a few of you here, and who are. Either way, we love all people. That's not the issue. The issue is fairness. What you're talking about. The issue being just, and the justice being a weapon instead of lawfare, instead of actually just, and all this corruption you're talking about. And that's a bad spirit, if you want to say it that way, putting it nicely. It's something evil. that has come against our country, our morals, our families, etc. And then you and the president and others getting attacked with this outrage and this hate. So if you would, allow me to pray.
Thank you.
If you'd all who want to, please join me, bow our heads and pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we are thankful for our country. We are thankful that God does bless America and that God is the source of all goodness, love, and provision. And that you, Lord God, have provided a great nation with a great history. And although we've gone through many rough times, you're still very present and active with us. Thank you for protecting President Trump from that fatal attack. And we ask that you envelop and protect all of those who are fighting for justice, for freedom, for order, for dignity, and to reward people according to merit, and especially put your hedge of protection around Elon Musk, around his children, around his whole entire family, and all of his team members, that all would do good and just by our country, and freedom truly and justice would reign once again. We ask this in the name of the blessed Savior, Jesus Christ, who we remember during this time of year, who suffered and died for our sins. May you wash away all that is wrong.
He's a pastor, and I just thought, if it's okay with you, I would love for...
There's some nice words there. We put in our comment section at the bottom of our videos that we need to pray for the people in Maui, people in East Palestine, the people in Pacific Palisades, people in Western North Carolina, and to President Trump and his entire team. They're taking on demons. They're battling demons. We all are. Oh. Trying to fit in while my liberal coworkers talk about the terrible things Trump is doing.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's so terrible. Is it going to flag it because I'm playing a clip of this?
You seem kind of psyched.
No. You seem kind of psyched. No.
Oh, I'm bummed. But I wasn't bummed. I was stoked. Oh.
But I wasn't bummed. I was stoked. Joey Manarino says the French government barred Marine Le Pen from ever holding public office again. The Brazilian government is trying to bar Bolsonaro from ever holding office again. The Irish government is trying to bar Conor McGregor from ever running for office because he said that immigration in Ireland is a problem. The U.S. government tried to literally arrest Trump so he couldn't run in 2024. This is the main tactic of the left all over the world, unfounded lawfare. They know our ideas are superior, so they'd rather arrest us than debate us. Elon Musk claims 2.1 million non-citizens received Social Security numbers in 2024. Pure madness. Pure madness. All right. That's what I had for you on the Instagram feed. Now let's tear through X and see what's going on. Anything breaking? Let's refresh and see if there's any new. Malay has released documents on Nazis in Argentina. Okay. Here, let's listen to that.
People know this story and who have studied the subject know that Adolf Hitler didn't kill himself in a bunker in Berlin as the Red Army closed in. I think that's... We all know that was a fabricated story, or if you watch the show, you probably understand that. Hitler actually fled Germany weeks before that using a group of underground tunnels that led to an airstrip. And that airstrip was flown. He was flown from Berlin out. It took submarines, or multiple submarines that were used, U-boats that were then sent to Argentina. In other words, Hitler lived for nearly 2 decades more in Argentina, along with vast numbers of the Third Reich. Well, now Argentinian President Javier Milei has just ordered the release of all remaining documents on all of those Nazis who fled Germany and moved to Argentina after World War II. Basically, it was almost like a second base of operations in Argentina. If you're not familiar with that, like basically the Third Reich operated out of Argentina and Germany. And many of them, including Adolf Hitler, lived in Argentina well after 1945. Most people know that Hitler lived out his days in Bariloche, Argentina, until he died there in the mid-1960s. Yes, you can read the CIA documents about this. The FBI documents also about sightings of Hitler in this area. They knew about it. Of course they knew about it. It was largely facilitated, I think it's safe to say, by the United States and its allies. Operation Paperclip, anybody? Quid pro quo?
Also, if you look into this, the skull that is held in Russia that was supposedly the remains of Adolf Hitler with a bullet wound in it is female.
Yeah.
So when you look for proof that Hitler did in fact kill himself in the bunker, you are going to find a lot of dead ends.
Yeah. And all you need to read, you can read a great book on this called The Gray Wolf. It's a great book. There's many books written about this now. But yeah, the skull, the fragments, they ran the DNA tests on it. And the Soviets allowed them to do this testing. And even Stalin openly talked about that Hitler lived, that he was not there. So Stalin even knew about it. It's widely known in Argentina, by the way, well known, that Hitler sired 2 children while he lived in Argentina.
Well, there you go. Okay. Didn't have that on my bingo sheet for today. Yeah, I think it's time to release all the files about all the things, please. U.S. El Salvador operation transfers 17 gang members. Last night, in a military operation with our allies from the United States, we transferred 17 extremely dangerous criminals linked to the Tren de Aragua and MS-13. All individuals are confirmed murderers and high-profile offenders, including 6 child abusers. This operation is another step in the fight against terrorism and organized crime. I guess I'll mute it. I don't know what music I can play, but it's more powerful than Man, you love to see this. Man, you love to see this. I would play this with music if I could. How did Marco Rubio define this? Last night, in a successful counterterrorism operation with our allies in El Salvador, the U.S. military transferred a group of 17. In order to keep the American people safe, POTUS designated TDA in MS-13 foreign terrorist organizations. These criminals will no longer terrorize our communities and citizens. Once again, we extend our gratitude to Nayib Bukele and the government of El Salvador for their unparalleled partnership in making our countries safe against transnational crime and terrorism. Bravo. What is Pete Hegseth doing here? Let's take a listen. Making an announcement.
Hey everybody, Pete Hegseth here. We're about to land in Washington, D.C. on our way back from Japan, where we've been meeting with the troops, talking to allies and partners, reestablishing deterrence in the Indo-Pacific. It's Sunday, but of course we're still working. I want to show you one thing. It's a new memorandum that's coming out today on combat arms standards. You see, for far too long, we allowed standards to slip, and different standards for men and women in combat arms, MOSs, and jobs. That's not acceptable. We need to have the same standard, male or female, in our combat roles to ensure our men and women who are under our leaders or in those formations have the best possible leaders and the highest possible standards that are not based at all on your sex, if you're a man or a woman. So we're signing this, I'm signing this memorandum today. The services will review, and soon we will have nothing but the highest and equal standards for men and women in combat.
So if you caught that, yeah, David's saying, how long is this? Why is it taking so long for this to come out about Hitler? But I mean, look, in the ancient alien world and Operation Paperclip, we've been talking about Argentina and the fact that he escaped and went there. And, you know, the United States government brought the rocket scientists over here to work on NASA and figure things out. Libs of TikTok says this calculator from the Marine Corps website. And by the way, it's one thing that we know in the Coast to Coast AM or the Ancient Aliens realm, and you hear theories and rumors and such, but like, is it actually confirmed, or is it sort of not confirmed? Or I guess it is different when someone like Bukele announces it. I mean, we've known it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald for a long time, but what's the proof? We've known that Joe Biden wasn't actually ... But when is the proof? When are you going to actually be able to take the Scooby-Doo mask off and go, aha? Libs of TikTok says, this calculator from the Marine Corps website proves the military has lower standards for women. A male scores third class while a female scores first class when you input the same exact numbers. The military lowered standards for women, and pointing this out is not mean. You need to have the same standards. And that's what DEI has been all about. You do not want firefighters that can't lift the load. What was it? The lady from the Palisades fire said, I'm not pulling you. I'm not going to carry you out of a burning building. If you got yourself in that situation, that's your fault. Huh? If you can't be strong and carry a human out, like, you shouldn't be doing the job of a firefighter. That's the job. That's literally the job. Valentina Gomez saying women don't belong in combat. We're not as fast, strong, or reactive as men. Never lower standards to accommodate for women who want to feel included. It's a simple truth we can't keep up in combat and in many other fields. I don't know if you'd go that far or not, but that's her thought. The day Virginia here, Cruda says, the day Leon Panetta opened combat arms to women, I sat in Dana Lash's studio and predicted it would lead to unequal and lowered standards, which would undermine readiness and lethality. Finally, we have a Secretary of Defense who gets that and will right the ship. Doesn't say you can't serve, but if you can't do the job, you don't get to be out there in that position. What is this? Virginia Guffrey, the woman who accused Prince Andrew, my goodness, of very bad abuse and is a known Jeffrey Epstein victim, shared a disturbing Instagram post claiming she has 4 days to live after being seriously injured in a car crash. Her car was struck by a bus. Oh, man. This year has been the worst start to a new year, but I won't bore anyone with the details. But I think it's important to note that when a school bus driver comes at you, driving 100 kilometers, 110 as we were slowing for a turn, that no matter what your car is made of, it might as well be a tin can. I've gone into kidney renal failure. They've given me 4 days to live, transferring me to a specialist hospital in urology. I'm ready to go. Just not until I see my babies one last time. But you know what they say about wishes? Shit in one hand and wish in the other, and I guarantee you it's still going to be shit at the end of the day. Thank you for all being wonderful people of the world and for being a great part of my life. God bless you all. Wow. She claimed Prince Andrew abused her as a teenager. She's 41. It's this girl from this picture. We all know that picture. Okay. Okay. Well, that's breaking. That's happening. David, you're right. Nothing they do matters until they arrest these criminals. That's so true. We got to get on the arrest train. All right. Let's tear through some of the stuff that we had queued up for you on our X feed. This is the report about Marine Le Pen here.
The French court has found the far-right leader Marine Le Pen guilty in her embezzlement case. Her political future and aspirations to be president of France now look to be in doubt. Well, the three judges were ruling on a case that centred between payments between 2004 and 2016. They were fully French court.
We'll see how that plays out. James O'Keefe leaking a phone call here. New Hampshire University keeping DEI in the curriculum.
There definitely is a lot of EDI, DEI integrated into the courses, and right now the policies in the federal government have no impact on the SNHU courses.
And EO has been written by President Trump, and it is unconstitutional.
Yeah,
and it is illegal.
It's not impacting Southern New Hampshire.
A leaked phone call provided to OMG reveals that Southern New Hampshire University is integrating DEI into sociology courses amid President Trump's order to stop teaching DEI in federally funded schools.
So, you know what to do. Hold them accountable. Where did I, okay, here we go. Yeah, Marine Le Pen here. Sentenced 4 years jail, banned from entering presidential elections. Le Pen, wait, what? She had like all the votes. Mike Ben says, unreal. They took out the opposition, Marine Le Pen, who's currently leading in opinion polls for the 2027 election in France. He's been sentenced to 4 years in prison and banned for running. This is nuts. Because Le Pen is a good one. Bolsonaro in Brazil, Imran Khan in Pakistan, Matteo Salvini in Italy, Donald Trump in America, Kalin Georgescu in Romania. The criminal prosecution of every populist challenger is a dagger in the heart of the credibility of democracy. General Mike Flynn reminding us that between approximately 3 to 12 and 3 to 17, the names depicted in the Fox News storyboard below were illegally and dangerously swatted along with members of their immediate family, including children. I thought by now we'd have arrests on local levels, or at least statements from the DOJ and Pam Bondi regarding the ongoing investigation into these very dangerous terrorist attacks that place lives needlessly at risk. I guarantee it is very easy to track down these type phone numbers and get after whoever initiated these calls and maybe who's behind them. I simply ask for these acts of terror to be taken as extremely serious and that our law enforcement professionals, Cash and Bongino, let those who are perpetrating them know that their days are numbered. Yeah, it's been a while and we still don't have it. This is new footage emerging from Hurricane Helene showing Tennessee State. Sorry, I clicked it. I can't read it. Tennessee State Trooper Hannah Smathers rescuing 3 people during the height of the flooding, nearly being washed away herself, saved only by a rope. Yet she stayed on ship for the next 18 hours, rescuing more people. She's a hero.
Also, is the person in the life directly able to get out?
Jeez. Trying to drive through a flood, man. That's no joke. Not recommended either. Goodness gracious. Yeah, we really got to fix those things up for the people out there. Brian Cates, I said from the very start when I heard that they were finding at the Social Security Administration, where they uncovered over 7 million fake accounts alone that were for people supposedly over 120 years old, that this would go straight to election fraud. They've been using the fake Social Security numbers to make voter registrations. Oh, here we go. Go to find countervailing views at cisa.gov/rumor control because they think 2020 was the only free and fair election in the history of free and fair elections. Brian Cates posits that they've been using fake Social Security numbers to make fake voter registrations. Now Elon is confirming that just in the sample amount they checked, thus far out of these millions of fake Social Security numbers, they found fake voter registrations that were used in order for someone to cast a vote in our elections. Doge team is now going to find every single one of these millions of fake Social Security numbers through the databases and find out exactly how many of them were used to create fake voter registrations, and then how many of those fake voter registrations were used to request a ballot, and how many ballots were sent out, then sent back, filled in, and counted in our recent elections. Isn't that just beautiful? Is it not awesome? Ain't life grand? He says, remember when I said right after Doge team got under the wire at the Social Security Administration and started revealing all the millions of fake numbers in Social Security that were in there? I sure hope somebody cross-referenced these fake Social Security numbers with recent voter registrations. Well, it looks like that's exactly what Elon and Doge did. When they entered these fake SSN numbers to illegals, they got hits not only for fake SSNs being used to register to vote, they found that some of these people actually voted in our elections. This is how we were going to catch them. This is how it was going to be done. This was just a sample. You can bet Doge team is going to do all of the fake Social Security numbers before they're done, and we're going to find out exactly how many of these SSNs were used to create illegal voter registrations, and then how many illegal votes were cast using those illegal registrations. Buckle up, Buttercups. April is going to be insane. 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, for an example. 5.5 million in those benefit programs. Who did vote? In the sample, they found that some of them actually did vote. Referred for prosecution by Homeland Security Investigative Service. Yeah, already. That is already happening right now. The truly disturbing thing, though, I just want you to know this. The voter fraud is terrible. Hi, Nimbus. Where'd you go, buddy? Okay, you're under there somewhere. George Soros received $260 million from U.S. aid, according to Mila Joy. He didn't spend his own money to destroy the American justice system. He used our money. Roger Stone saying, Bill Maher is a true piece of shit. I did his very first pilot for Politically Incorrect. I appeared there 3 times on his current show. He accused me of being a Russian spy, then admitted himself that there was no Russian collusion, but refused to have me back on to clear my name. He's a talentless lightweight who, without his platoon of comedy writers, is not even faintly amusing, slow on his feet, but extremely pompous. It will not end well for him. We'll keep our eyes peeled on that. Here's a 5-minute clip from from RFK Jr. speaking with Megyn Kelly. Liz Churchill tags this Bill Gates as a menace to society. The quote is that the WHO, with Bill Gates' support and participation, administered 1 million doses to Kenyan women, and they were designed to sterilize them against their knowledge and against their will. I'm not sure how verified that is, but check out that interview there. I meme, therefore I am, says, breaking North Bay Cybertruck owners offered a $25,000 reward for information after his vehicle was vandalized. The incident happened in Novato, California on Friday. The vandal slashed all 4 tires and broke the vehicle's windshield with a piece of concrete. X, do your thing. Find this POS. Well, look at that crap.
I spoke with the Cybertruck's owner who sent us these photos of the damage. The vandal also left behind a note indicating all 4 tires needed to be replaced. Jason Bedell says he never imagined this could happen outside his home and is going to some great lengths to find the perpetrator.
I live in a really private neighborhood at the end of a cul-de-sac, and I think somebody either followed me home or maybe one of my neighbors. I'm really not sure. Some people might be mad at Elon or mad at the government, but they're taking it out on their neighbors, and they're taking it out on their friends, and they're taking it out of people that has nothing to do with. I'm offering a $25,000 cash reward for information leading to this person's arrest.
Police are also asking for the public's help. More information can be found on the Nevada.
Yeah, color. The color's pretty cool. It's like a custom paint job, too. All right, where did it go? I gotta scroll back down to it, I guess. There we go. Okay. Yeah, Marine Le Pen. Now they're saying it's a 2-year prison sentence, Ian Miles Chong, but I thought it was a 4-year. I'm not familiar with the corruption of it and what they're actually trying to lock down from 2004, 21 years ago. But if it's anything similar to the Donald Trump situation, it's a political hit. John Stewart here talking about a media manipulation machine. We'll just let this play.
You're saying if you have a media machine that purposefully lies to its people to maintain a political fiction and get themselves power, that is the hallmark of an authoritarian system, not a democratic system.
Absolutely.
Well, if we were ever to get something like that in the United States, we would be horrified, furious. To know that there was an entire media organization designed to bend reality, to manipulate facts, to maintain power, it would, if I may, and I'm not trying to slam Hungary, it would never happen in the United States. It would never happen in the United States.
So he's clearly being sarcastic. But I think he also had some Trump derangement syndrome. So it's like, I got to be careful, like trying to figure this one out. I've seen this clip before.
Just not, I almost can't even conjure it.
He's doing like the rich chocolatey, a bat kissed a pangolin when he was on with Colbert.
Imagine it. It must be very difficult to live in a country where one media organization, out of whole cloth, knowingly, explicitly, maybe even in meetings behind the scenes, might say, we're lying to our audience, holy shit, and then call for news people to be fired for telling the truth. I mean, if something like that happened in the United States, it would be a dark day indeed. So I appreciate you raising the alarm bells for us.
That's pretty good. This video here, they're literally paid protesters. The accusation was when it hit a certain time, everybody left at the same exact time, like their shift is up.
Yeah, kiss my pal. Go back to Mexico. I respect your point of view. I respect your point of view. Yeah, say across the border, Pedro. I respect your point of view. Yeah, we don't respect yours because yours is nothing.
Okay, we're all set here. Time to go home.
We do. We don't like that. We do. They're nothing but a bunch of liars. Yeah, kiss my.
Yeah, there were reports that people just they all left right around the same time. The Telegraph here is reporting that a 3 to 4 year old, wait, 3/4-year-old. I don't know if this is a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old or a 3/4-year-old. 9-month-year-old? I don't know. A kid was kicked out of a nursery for being transphobic. 94 pupils at state primary schools were suspended or permanently excluded for transphobia, homophobia in 2022-23, including 10 pupils from year 1 and 3 from year 2. They're children, toddlers, kids. They don't know which way is up, and some man comes in wearing a dress and they're expected to understand that. These are men, and there are women. Or there are men, and there are women. That's a biological fact. No amount of moaning will change it. And that is what we should be teaching young children. Facts. We need to draw a very deep line in the sand. Keep this poison away from the kids. Toddler kicked out of nursery school is a new low. If a man believes himself to be a woman, it does not make it so. We should not change the way our society operates to accommodate a minuscule minority. Safety over inclusivity, reality over ideology. J.K. Rowling said, this is totalitarian insanity. If you think small children should be punished for being able to recognize sex, you are a dangerous zealot who should be nowhere near kids or in any position of authority over them. This is Mike Benz and Sean Ryan discussing what Elon's going through.
They have no idea how deep the rabbit hole goes there, or how dark many of the operations they thought USAID was involved in. And I think that this is part of what the blockade being set up right now to stop Doge from finding out is about. They don't want them to have USAID's books. They don't want them to have the internal records. They don't want them to have the emails and communications. They definitely don't want them to have the transfer of money flows. This was the sort of thing that even the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which directly oversees USAID, could not get access to until the present moment. Senator Joni Ernst had an X-Space with Elon Musk where she said when she tried to do oversight, she was threatened by USAID. When USAID ran the Zunzanillo op in Cuba in 2014 and the scandal popped off who approved this, and it turned out it was all in-house at USAID, what Senate staffers said was when they tried to get oversight of this operation along the way, they were told that if Senate staffers found out what USAID was doing, people could die.
You understand how serious this is? Yes, this is more Gates and Fauci talk with RFK Jr. Find it on our feed. Shadow of Ezra saying Elon Musk just called for the permanent end of the Federal Reserve, questioning why so many people work there when no one really knows what they do. He also wants a live stream of the gold at Fort Knox to ensure it's still there. As Musk puts it, the gold belongs to the American people. The media won't show you this. How many people are lined up to see Elon yesterday in Scott Pressler in Green Bay, Wisconsin? If you're the media now, you know what to do. Show Elon how much we appreciate it. Rain. Oh. People everywhere. This is not I watched this. I didn't see it happen. But a 70-year-old Christopher Talbot has been arrested after plowing his car into a Trump supporter outside of a Tesla dealership in Idaho. The victim had pro-Trump flags on his truck and was there to counter a woke anti-Tesla protest. Police tracked Talbot to his home, charged him with aggravated battery. The media won't touch this story because the victim supports Trump and the attacker hates Elon. Imagine if the roles were reversed. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm seeing much in this video, but Bill Malugin says, here's an update. This Honduran illegal alien was caught and released at the border by Biden admin, and he's now been indicted on new charges of what? Of Necra R, an aggravated battery on top of felony murder and malice murder in connection with the killing of an American mother of 5 in Georgia. Dumped her body in the woods last week. A Honduran illegal alien monster. Caught and released at the border in 21 by Biden. He's had a deportation order since July of 23. Notice to appear. Judge ordered him removed. Arrested by Cobb. Loose on America's streets. Why don't you just sue the Democrat Party for doing this? Oh, you don't hate these people enough. Laura Loomer reporting when Signalgate exposed the Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg was added to a Trump admin group chat. I did some digging. Alex Wong is Mike Waltz's deputy national security advisor, married to a DOJ attorney named Candace Chu Wong, who worked under Biden and Obama. You're not hearing this from the GOP or conservative media. This is what happens when no one properly vets national security officials. You embarrass the president. Mario Nafal says there's an investigation revealing massive Democrat-linked protest machine behind the Tesla takedown. After nationwide protests targeted Elon and Tesla, former Wall Street Journal reporter Asra Nomani uncovered a network of 24 Democrat-aligned organizations behind the scenes with revenues over $124 million. Marketed as spontaneous, grassroots anger, these Tesla takedown protests are actually coordinated Astroturf events that run through platforms like Action Network and Mobilize.us, closely tied to the Democratic Party activism. Among key organizers, Indivisible Project, Democratic Socialists of America, MoveOn.org, and Swing Left. At a protest in Virginia, demonstrators openly displayed Democratic signage and called for Elon's deportation. Nomani's investigation challenges the narrative of nonpartisan activism, exposing this effort as top-down political theater. Yes, there we go. Elon telling you just how dire things are. Better listen.
Sort of the poly market or Kalshi, like the betting markets, it varies between
Poly market betting make it seem like it's almost impossible for the good guys to win this one.
85% and 90% probability of loss for Justice Schimmel. That's the current situation. So we got to pull a rabbit out of the hat next level. We're actually going to have a steady stream of rabbits out of the hat, like it's an arc of rabbits flying through the air and landing in a voting booth. Interesting picture. Grok could probably make that picture.
Grok could probably make that picture. I do use Grok for a lot of graphics. Sometimes Grok acts drunk, though. It gets really frustrating.
So that's basically.
I did have Grok make me a picture of a stack of pancakes going up to the moon from Earth, where Wilford Brimley was eating them. I said every deep state lie is like a pancake, and that they lie so much it would make a stack all the way up to from Earth to the moon. So many pancakes, you get the liabetes. So we had Wilford Brimley pitching his diabetes, but these are called liabetes. Yeah, Grok makes images. I like it.
What's needed is we need to generate an anomaly in the matrix, and because I think there's currently the Dems are 100,000 votes ahead. It's sort of the
need an anomaly in the matrix. We'll see. What is this machine for? Does anyone know? Not music. Don't want to listen to music, but what the heck is going on in this machine? I don't know what's happening, but I saw it, so now you're going to look at it. I don't know what this is. Anyway, moving on. Here's the same playbook that's being used against Elon Musk today. This is from 1943. Communist Party headquarters in the U.S. issued a directive that read, when certain obstructionists become too irritating, labeled, well, let's just watch.
In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, when certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them after suitable buildups as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic, and use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind. In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read,
that's the same playbook they're using today. Left going around tagging cars with their party's logo. That's a good way to describe it, actually. Democrats are communists. All right. Keep scrolling. This guy says what? Let's take a listen to him.
I need to have on my resume, so that I can get a job when this thing is over, that I bankrupted Tesla, or that I helped bankrupt Tesla. That is a very important thing to me personally. So please do everything you can to bankrupt Tesla. I need to have on my resume, so that I can get a job when this thing is over.
Yeah, an outright admission that top Tesla boycott organizers' personal financial prospects depend on them taking down Tesla. Does that seem a little crazy? Watch this video.
Tesla camera.
Let's turn this up. Did I show you this one already
Take
today?
a look at this. This is video from the victim's Tesla camera. It shows a green car pulling up to a Tesla on busy Route 66, then swerving in front to box the Tesla.
It's blurring together to the point I'm trying to remember if I shared this or not, but we'll just watch it one more time.
In. The driver then walks over to the 61-year-old woman in the Tesla and reportedly starts hitting her while she's sitting behind the wheel.
Madness.
At one point, the woman says she bit the man's hand. Moments later, the passenger of the green car appears to walk over and pull the attacker away. They finally get back in their car and drive off. We spoke to the victim today, who said she was terrified and can't understand why anyone would do this.
I was just stunned, and I wished that I would have had someone with me that would have protected me. I'm just appalled. I didn't buy my car for a political statement.
Yeah, I think I did play this. It's just nuts watching that full video, and she had to bite him. This dude has been making the rounds. Tim Burchett, making a lot of sense.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, just leaving oversight, Doge committee, and NPR and PBS were on the stand, and they needed to be. It's just unbelievable, the far left agenda that they're allowed to perpetrate on this country at taxpayers' expense. Could you imagine if Fox or Real America's Voice or anybody else, Newsmax, if they were allowed to receive federal money? I mean, there'd be an outcry, and there should be. And it's not a First Amendment issue. They can say whatever the heck they want. Just the American taxpayer shouldn't have to pay a dadgum red cent to it. I hope we get the guts and start passing some things to start saving American taxpayers money. It's time. It really.
And there's that.
Yes. Thank y'all for saying.
There's that quote. You know, if they're gonna hate us, let them hate us for free. We don't need to be paying for this. Yeah. By the way, they want you to be more angry about a Signal chat than what Biden and his team did in Afghanistan. These people clinging to the plane that fall off to their deaths. All of our top-notch equipment being left for the bad guys. Leaving a military base that we spent so much time, energy, and money to build there. Unforgivable. Here's more goofiness at the Tesla stuff.
You touch that shit again, I will break your fucking fingers. Okay, come on, bring it on. Bring it on. You're fucking Nazi. Fuck you, Nazi. Go fuck yourself. I love you. You are a shame. Shame. If you only I feel very, very sorry for you.
This is a mob, man. These are just goofballs.
He's just a little man. Little man. You know what? Good for you. Just about. I'm sorry. We need you out of the road, please. You're drugs.
Are they spelling Ohio?
Get this fucking asshole out of here!
Bunch of dorks. Bunch of dorks, people. This one is just saying that tariffs are genius, and that Laura Ingraham didn't quite understand it. They're just reciprocal. If Grey Goose wants to put a 100% tax so that Tito's can't compete, then slap them on a 100% tariff. Then when they take it off, guess what? You don't pay any more in America. The American product just gets to go over there and gets to sell it in other markets. I mean, if they want to be so foolish as to not allow their product in, okay. But I don't think they're going to want to do that. Mind-blowing chart. It's hard to look away from this. We talked about Social Security numbers to illegal aliens, the persistence. Their names have been given to authorities for prosecution. We need the perp walks. We need so many arrests. 2.1 million new non-citizen Social Security numbers. You shouldn't have a Social Security number if you're not a citizen. Yeah, Carrie Lake mentioning what happened in Arizona and other states. Those who committed that fraud should be very nervous. Let's hope so. And Elon says it's why the Tuesday Supreme Court election in Wisconsin is so important nationally. The left wants to redraw the Wisconsin voting districts to gain control of the U.S. House of Representatives. There you go. And that is what I wanted to discuss with you today. What do these people really want? They probably want $100 to go out there for a couple hours, or $200 to go out for a couple hours. They don't care. And some of them are useful idiots. I assure you there are some actual believers mixed in. But it is a weird cult-like behavior. Weird cult-like behavior. They're advocating for wasteful spend because it would impact them, because they're part of the grift. They want to keep getting paid. They want to keep stealing your money is what it's coming down to. So that's what they really want. They want to keep their gravy train rolling. They want to keep you thinking erroneously, oh, we're a 51-49 nation. We're so close. It's like 50-50. It's kind of like a toss-up. You know, we're kind of like half Democrat, half Republican. No, we're not. 75-25. This nation, 75% is just common sense. Variations within that 75%. And then 25% off the reservation. Don't know what to say. But fixing the country before it implodes, that's probably a good idea that you should be a part of. That's what MAG is all about. Prioritizing this country and getting things back on track. Democrats, there is no amount that they would... There's nothing the Democrats would not do to sell this country out for a little bit more power and control. And there's nothing that MAGA members have to sacrifice and risk everything to be in this game to try to save humanity. They make it painful. They threaten you. They try to jail you. They try to bankrupt you. They try to kidnap you. They try to kill you. That's what the Democrats are. They are brown shirts. They are a domestic terrorist organization, and they really need to be treated as such. And we have got to start getting these perp walks. We have got to get these people arrested at the highest levels. They're doing it to everyone else who's a nationalist because they can't fathom a world where they don't have all of the control. They hate us. They're ruining our way of life. They're trying to make this a permanent deep state. And we have to resist. And we really need to put some energy with Bobby Kennedy and Health and Human Services to help unbrainwash the people on the left who thought they were getting news, but they've been getting lied to. President Trump called Nazis fine people. We have to rally against Nazis. Everything we don't like is a Nazi. It's the dumbest shit you've ever heard. But it's what they say. Yeah, David, you're sure that I'm right. To you, it's a serious mental illness and stubborn behavior. Yes, it is. Bella's chance. Nothing will be fixed until there are arrests and incarcerations. Yes, let's go with the arrests and the incarcerations already. Hi, buddy. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for joining us on the TNAM AM Show. Had a lot to cover since I took a day off yesterday. I'm trying to remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. I'm trying to take a day off a week. I know you're supposed to go 7 days a week. Maybe there's something I could do. Maybe I could pre-record segments or maybe I could release shorts or like do a special segment or like a deep dive segment. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to deliver the news, but here I am unpacking it with you each and every day on the TNAM AM Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree podcast. So go on Spotify and Apple and subscribe to our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show, here on the New American Media. We're on X at American_media_. And then just do a search for The New American Media and link up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube. Also, anybody who would like to participate in assisting us with our funding, we're on Patreon at The New American Media, Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman, and Fuzz Installment on PayPal. Nimbus, come here. They're calling for you. Come here. Come. Come here, bud. I moved some things right. Come here. You got to make an appearance. He's sitting behind the camera. He jumped up into another. Come here. You got to make an appearance before we say goodbye. Come on. There he is. Here he is. Nimbus, turn around. Look at the people. There he is. Nimbus with the flag. He's an American cat. He's coming to your town. He'll help you Nimbus down. He's an American cat. Hey, buddy. Like to do the headbutts. Nimbus, my rescue cat from Los Angeles. David, thank you for watching. He said thank you for a great time and info like always. Bella said, hey, Nimbus, you're getting called out. You're a popular part of the show. We should do... Oh, look at him reaching for me. That's so cute. Then I give him the handshake. Oh, buddy. Aw. Hi. He's very sweet. He's purring. Maybe I'll just like hang out for a half hour, just holding hands with Nimbus. He reaches his paw out and just gets my attention this way. There you go. Look at the there you go. Look at the camera. Atta boy. That's the shot we were looking for. Well, okay. All right. That's what I have for you today. Signing out. Be back again tomorrow. And until then, I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.